might be in a little bit of trouble here, forced to flash the wall, but BDD still on the chase. We got an Ornn from the top side too, and now Kana, he does not have his flash, and soon he does not have his life, as 3 people will collapse and take it out. A kill earned here by Rascal.
Yeah, and that's a really big kill for the Ornn to end up getting. Helps him move towards his items. He's going to make the most out of it in regards to how these lane phases play out. Azir and Corki, you're mostly just going to be playing ping pong. So even if Azir gets that, it's not the most impactful. Rek'Sai getting it, not the most impactful. But Ornn heading towards core item completions really does change the dynamic of the top lane matchup, as Scryer Plant does end up getting hit here. And remember, Infernal Drake, first one of the game. Faker has the call available. They're just going to clear out the Blasting Wand. We'll see how everything pans out here. Kana going for a trade.
Yeah, little trades up on the top side. See Grasp taken here by Rascal just to handle the Silas that is going to get in his face. And we all know champions like Graves and Olaf, power junglers farming in the jungle. They love those camps such as the Raptors, and that was the second time that Cuz was just able to nonchalant go into the enemy jungle and steal those Raptors away. You can see he's already up to 40 CS, so having a pretty fun time himself. I believe he did miss both scuttles though, so that is one thing to highlight. You'll notice that Clid level 5 here. Will Cuz pick up 6 from this scuttle? The answer is yes, as he continues his power farm.
Well, Kana is just taking this slow. He's going to be able to pile up both of these minion waves as well as the one that is about to arrive and get the crash off onto the turret. And now Graves just continuing to just go for the power farm. You can see on the minimap, he's in his right-hand side jungle. He even has the option to actually start and solo the dragon right now, which looks like he's going to do because he knows red buff's coming up for Rek'Sai. It's unlikely Rek'Sai could do anything because Corki has mid-priority, so does my bot lane. And there's no way that Rek'Sai would be able to come over and then realistically contest this without risking losing his own life. As the turret plate's going to fall down here in bottom, and things are looking really good for T1 here. Mountain Dragon rolled second. And interestingly enough, remember, hold on.
Oh, going for the play, but the flash answers the flash. And no kill will go down onto Faker. It's part of the reason why that Corki is often picked into the Azir. It's one way you can easily get away from that engage that is normally pretty scary against immobile champions. As we do pan back up to the top side, Kana unfazed by that early death, is going to continue taking good trades. And that is one of the things I did want to talk about the T1 team. I feel like they are so good at raising rookies that have amazing poise and never really get that nervous. We'll see if my caster cursed him here talking good, because we do have Clid coming up for the gank. Kana gonna steal it as his own ultimate, but he is dead meat up in the top side. Had to just curse him, didn't I?
Yeah, you absolutely did have to curse him, I guess, Valdez.
What poise he had as he went down. I suppose it doesn't change much. We'll see how he does react to being down 0-2 in the first game of a finals. Generally can be pretty jarring for any young player.
And you can see here, Cuz now just returning to farming his blue side jungle. Also has both the control wards. Gonna end up dinging level 7, and now they're actually gonna start up the Rift Herald right now. Now Faker is on a recall, so Rascal's gonna be the one that comes over here first. BDD is gonna be able to crash in that mid wave and potentially come over. We'll have to see what Clid actually wants to do here. You can see Rascal canceled one of his first recalls, but no, they're not interested in contesting. It's going to be a free Rift Herald going the way of T1. And where you want to plant this is most likely in mid lane, because it's very hard to get damage onto Azir's turret, and that mid-tier 1 can really be a thorn in your side. And in the replay here, Ornn ultimate comes out. Kana just goes down pretty easily. Nothing too fancy about it.
It looks like Rascal actually forced a dash early with his own charge, and then immediately summoned the ultimate so that it couldn't be dashed away from. Of course, Flash was still not available, and I think the second kind of saw the ult, he's like, yeah, I'm dead. Not much he could have done there, except maybe try to steal Ornn's ultimate and use it faster to, I don't know. It was really dire straits, and as you guys could see, it did end up leading to another kill up in the top side. But we were talking about Kana and how he has turned into quite the player in his series, but Effort, and another young player, he's going to go for his own play here. Doesn't have vision over the walls, so pretty much blind there. Not quite able to land onto Ruler, who still did have cleanse anyway, had it landed.
So they do get the flash out of Ruler, though, which is really key for the next team fight that can end up unfolding. And the way that it currently stands, it looks like Faker going to be able to complete his call here shortly. Also has the Monomune with a Ruby, so we'll be picking up the Phage. And not too long time, as Teddy just continuing to hard poke down here in bot lane. Winning by quite a bit in CS, but obviously Ruler's going to pick up a pretty good percent of this. BDD and Klid, they spot Cuz, and for the time being, nothing's going to end up happening, as Cuz is just shadowing.
Oh, they get the cleanse out of Ruler to end the poke down with both abilities. Cuz is down here. There are no summoners available for Ruler. Now they do have exhaust heal on the Yuumi, but Cuz's presence alone is enough to push them away, as he's going for it actually. The ultimate is going to go in, but he does not be able to take the lantern as he was rooted, as Cuz may be a little bit overconfident in that play himself.
That happened.
Yes, we witnessed it.
Yeah, that was a series of events that did just unfold on our screen, and this actually should have allowed Klid to just keep power farming and then catch back up in the XP difference. And why Cuz just made this, I'm not entirely sure, because there was no universe where he ever kills Ruler there. Meanwhile, up in top lane, we are having a really heavy trade. Lost Chapter was built first by Kana. Let's take a look at this. So they could have just summoned the Rift Herald and crashed the wave, and Ruler would have lost everything. But they go for a play, and the Lantern gets denied by a control ward.
Yep.
But just very overly greedy, and ends up getting punished for it. So his clear speeds are going to be a little bit down. He's going to be under-leveled compared to where he could have been at. And that's obviously a little bit unfortunate. However, T1 should still be in a commanding position to get this Mountain Dragon. They're going to summon Herald down in bot lane. They're going to give all the gold over to Teddy to really just try to accelerate this lethal or lethality Varus. And that's obviously really valuable. Now, if you're T1, you want to roll Ocean Soul here. If you're Gen.G, you're begging for Cloud. Okay.
It's Cloud. Gen.G are going to win the roll this time, 50-50. It's got to feel pretty nice. And yeah, it's, you know, obviously not going to be as good as Ocean Soul, so that's that, but still a really nice lead taken here by T1. Wasn't as clean as it could have been. As you mentioned, just zone away the bottom lane, summon Rift Herald, keep it simple. When, you know, there's a lot on the line, and there's a lot of nerves, of course. No reason to take that extra step as, oh. I love how Jonas Strong zoomed in on the cannon that he knew he was going to miss, as it felt like Kana also felt he was going to miss that one, as he's been having a rough time up there in the top side. Gold still relatively even, only 1,000 in the lead here for T1, but still, the longer they can sit back, relax, and scale, they're going to be just happy.
Yep, and Teddy and Effort now, they've rotated towards the left-hand side of the map. Ruler is up here as well, but this is also very good for Silas because it gets him into a longer lane where he's going to be less at risk and he's going to have a lot more freedom over what he's trying to do. As Effort and Teddy...
Oh, this Rek'Sai not in a great spot here. He's trying to tunnel away. Doesn't even flash to try to get away from that one. And he's going to go down in a kill that did go the way of Faker. So just like that, another mistake, another casual pickup of a kill by T1.
Yep. And Cuz, he has the tier 2 boots, he has the warrior enchant. Now he did pick up a ruby crystal, so it looks like he wants to go for Black Cleaver. And obviously Silas and Corki not getting super insane benefit out of it, however Varus will. in a team fight. Obviously, with all of his lethality, any armor shred that can come in or be granted by Graves will amplify his damage. So Cuz trying to be a little bit more of a team player this time around. There's 2.5 minutes until the Cloud Dragon is going to come up, and for Gen G, they're down 2.2 thousand, but you do have to factor in the added benefits of the Dragons. Take a look at how this transpires. Clid unburrows really early, and then Cuz is just able to bring him down. Doesn't even need to use his R.
Yeah.
좋은데 잡은 것 같아.
오케이. 나이스. 아빠 갈게.
많어.
이거 아직 노플이야.
그래서 패스인 거 없어?
Well, I was just enjoying the facial expressions
Yep.
from Faker. High focus here when it does come down to the finals. As he didn't say nice, but you could see the satisfaction on his face from a kill that was relatively easy for him to pick up. As that dispels more disaster here for Gen G starting off in this one. You mentioned the gold, now it has increased even further. Not to mention the 2 Drakes and the later game scaling. As Shirley is going to be picked up here, second Rift Herald of the map. It's going to be taken by Cuz without any pressure once again. As we'll see where he does aim to put this down. Look, he's going back. Oh no. Oh.
So that's actually a little bit problematic because I think it almost invalidates the benefit that he got from Cull. So he's now actually just on even footing.
For sure, it does. That's really, oh man.
Well,
You guys saw it firsthand. Even Faker makes mistakes when it comes into finals.
not going to be the end of the world, though, by any means. 2,500 gold lead still here for T1. And if you're on the side of Gen G, you're waiting for the ornaments to come in. You're waiting for more items to come online. But the problem is that with T1 having all the early dragons, they're fine to also just give away future Drakes if it means getting better positions in the future or waiting on even more impactful core item completions. And again, at 3.5, 4 items, the mobility and range aspect of T1 is just going to be so hard for Gen G to interact with, and Rek'Sai can't do anything in this game.
No, I mean, he's been put so far behind. You were talking about having an impact in the early game. Well, I think he kind of lost that, as now he's just kind of sitting around, and he will be that knock-up bot that I was talking about a little bit earlier on. As Rift Herald summoned here right as the Cloud Drake is going to spawn. Let's see how T1 wants to handle this. Gen G really making a case. They want to take out this dragon. But here comes T1, all 5 of them, but effort is going to be hit by the long-range sniper that is Ruler. The ultimate is going to come in from the Kana, actually, as Chains of Corruption come down, and now Rascal in a ton of trouble, but he is going to be able to get away as Yumi's going to help, but Thresh alongside of the Varus is going to have enough damage. The sniper from long range to take out Rascal, and now 5v4. T1 will look to push.
And so T1, now they're not going to be able to get the mid-tier 2 turret, at least not just yet, but they're going to be able to pillage the red side jungle of Gen G. And so even though Gen G get a Cloud Dragon, what does that really mean for their champions? Not much. 10% ultimate CDR, not really impacting anything on this game. So at the very end of it, the map state still benefits T1, and they make out more inside of this team fight. So Rascal goes for an ultimate, but there's no way you can see BDD clicking away. He's not going to go for any sort of Shurima shuffle. Kana locks up Ruler with the ultimate, but effort flashes forward. Lots of damage coming out onto Ornn, and then look at the piercing arrow by the Varus, dealing so much damage. And this is going to be the song and a dance that Gen G don't have a reliable answer to. The only way to reach the long range on the side of T1 is going to be the Ornn or BDD if he finds a miracle engage. But Corki has Valkyrie. Varus can obviously flash away. There's lanterns too. It gets very difficult to get on them. So Gen G are going to have a really high ask of themselves as we are now in the mid game Ornn is level 13. He's just waiting to complete the second Ornn item. He'll ornament that one straight up.
Yeah, when he does complete the Sunfire Cape, that should be coming out here. Klid does have a Yuumi on his back at all times, it seems, as not really sticking around the 80 carry here is Life just yet. Is helping gain vision with the jungler. And we have seen BDD, though, on this Azir pull off some insane engages, even against similar teams such as this. It seems like he has a really great knack for knowing, you know, what is gone, you know, who has Flash, who has Valkyrie, who has mobility, when do I go in exactly, and sometimes he'll wait until the very last second to make it happen. So, still keeping my eye on him to see if he can do it. Ruler also picking up a kill, but pretty far behind in terms of CS onto Teddy at this point. So T1 absolutely sitting here in the lead. You can see the most gold on the map will go the way of Teddy and Faker. Basically the same amount, and then Rascal is number 2. So that really tells you what the deal is there in the bottom lane for Gen G.
Well, just a lot of wave clear happening. Baron is live, and yes, Gen G can clear it pretty quickly, depending on what guns Aphelios has available to him. They also have, obviously, the Azir. They can tank it for days with the Yuumi. So that is something that T1 needs to be conscious of, as we're going to enter into a bit of a lull state, but no forbidden love here today.
No forbidden love. This is all on the books. Everybody knows about this love. As you can see, there was a giant wave crashed into the bottom side. It did look like Rascal got there for the majority of it, but kind of not going for a freeze or anything like that with his bottom lane turret still available. He's just going to push that one in, as we do have a minute and a half until this Cloud Drake will spawn up. And T1 are just fine with that.
Yeah. They have the 2 lethality items right now on the Varus. Obviously has another serrated Dirk. And you can see the Executioners. There's even an argument for him here to just go Mortal Reminder and sit on that last serrated Dirk. And you would just get the pen there, you would get the Grievous Wounds that Varus can apply to multiple members inside of a team fight. Silas very close to his core item completion, as Graves looks like he's going down a defensive item route as he picks up a Null Magic Mantle. Corki sitting really pretty right now. And Rascal is probably about to ding level 14. He's been 13 for a little while. That's going to be the Molten Edge, most likely handed over first. And then Obsidian Cleaver will most likely come in later for Klid.
Yeah. That's what you would have to imagine is the order of things here. Still struggling to hit that number, though, as he was in the bottom lane trying to get CS, trying to get XP, but he had to actually group up here in mid lane for the team fight. So unsure whether he'll hit that before this Cloud Drake fight happens. But look at T1. They say, sure, go for the Cloud Drake. We don't care. We'll take Baron under your noses. And this is something you were talking about. They can give away 1, 2, even 3 Cloud Drakes, as long as they don't give the soul away, because they will have higher value. As, okay, gonna land that Chains of Corruptions, the poke coming out from Teddy alone, as they have pulled off the dragon, and Klid is incredibly low. Rascal has to face check it, but the poke is huge from the side of Teddy. And T1, as Baker over the wall, immediately gonna get exhausted here, and so baiting out the Ornhorn.
So this is sort of what we're talking about, is these long-range assault arrows and repositioning.
The follow-up engage, they're gonna fight Ruler, but he flashes away. He's able to get out of this one. Kana getting sniped now. With Ruler at full health, that Yuumi is helping out so much, but that's another big poke down onto the Aphelios so far, as hook after hook will sail wide.
And the thing is that there's no reliable answer to Varus. He's just gonna keep shooting these arrows, and it's so hard to get onto him because of the threat.
Because he's looking for the steal this time around. He's not gonna get it. That's 2 good smites out of Klid, but they do get the Azir. Now, what will this mean for Gen Z? What will they lose as T1 5v4 once again? But much healthier than the first time it did happen at the Cloud Drake. We're looking for more, but so far it is just the enemy jungle.
Yep. Cuz gonna steal away the Raptors right here. And now, there's no reason to really rush the Baron because you know that BDD has teleport available. And now Genji, they're going to be respectful with their approach here. They have Tremor Sense, so they can tell when certain things are going on. So it looks like T1 are going to be content to maybe just take a reset here. Silas waiting on a pretty big item completion. We'll take a look at this one more time. Genji, their members are very low on HP. Smokescreen comes out, and it's a very obnoxious ability that I think a lot of people don't give it enough credit for. Cuz says something I can't say as he shoots the ultimate over at Azir, gets the kill onto him, and at least brings a small victory to T1 there, as the gold lead now 5,000, and again, it's only Cloud Drakes. This doesn't do anything.
Not anything that's good enough to carry Gen Z to a lead at this point in time, at least. As Clid, he's been on point tonight with the smites. You can see those fingers are ready to go with the instant reflexes that he has been pulling out here. Gen Z clearing out vision around the Baron once again, as it is a bit of a song and a dance once again. Before we do get into another Cloud Drake fight, most likely, as Rascal, he did hit level 14, upgrades the Molten Edge. You can see Rek'Sai working on the Black Cleaver to be eventually upgraded. As now it's T1's turn to sidle in and take a little bit of that vision away.
So this is going to be the scariest point in the game for T1. They're waiting for the utility items to start coming in. You can see Graves finally has the Hex Drinker, and Silas still apparently waiting. Obviously he's very stunned. Okay, there's the Luden's Echo. Finally picked up by him. So his next item probably could either be the stopwatch, or he just starts moving towards the Banshee's Veil. That could end up coming in as Varus, Edge of Night. These are the item pickups that start making things more problematic for Gen G, as here we go.
Oh boy, quad BDD in the back there as Rascal. He's a tanky boy, but BDD not so much. Here comes the Ornhorn from the sign of Silas. As now the follow-up coming in here from Rascal. Nobody really going for it yet, but the Moonlight Vigil does come down the BDD, and everybody is so zoned away by this Varus, who is doing insane poke damage into the back line. And he's got, you know, Yuumi she's working overtime.
Yeah.
You know, she's the nurse. She's an essential worker right now for this team, and is really keeping everybody on their toes and on their feet here so that they can stick in the fight, because if it were not for that healing, I feel like Gen G would have already been pushed out of this game and out of this fight in the mid lane.
And the thing is Yuumi is basically a walking Pokemon Center right now, and she's so integral to Gen G trying to resist the Varus poke. The gold lead, however, continues to widen. We're at 6,000 now here in this game. Faker going to be really close to the completion of the Infinity Edge, I would imagine, as Graves now himself picking up an Executioner's Calling just to add that much more. Grievous wounds inside of the team fight for the targets that maybe Varus can't get on top of himself, as Teddy's most likely going to pick up a Mortal Reminder next, I would assume.
Yeah, you would have to assume, with the items that he does have at this point, that will be the next objective, as Cloud Drake number 3 of the game is on the cards here in 45 seconds. Is T1 going to put up a bit more forward of a fight, or are they just going to let this one go? As Teams of Corruption this time around, they will go wide, as they have been pretty on point so far in this game.
And just lots of posturing happening right now. Gen G, this is going to be their closest fight that they could possibly have against T1. And it's going to be over the 3rd Cloud Dragon, which they do win it. It does bring it to Soul Point. So that is a bit of an upside. Ornn is the main piece of Gen G's comp that's keeping them in this right now, because he is so tanky. He can take multiple shots, and his Ornn ultimate is the real core piece to a victory. Oh, man.
Do they know he's in here? Okay, Faker's not going to do any crazy backline shenanigans, but he does catch Clid off guard. And with the package that he has available, he can reposition at any time. As you can see with the home guards from Teddy with the teleport, he's going to be able to get in and have that speed boost to land another one onto Ruler, who again, doesn't seem to be too unhappy about it, as he is at full health nearly instantly, thanks to Yuumi.
And it looks like there's just lots of posturing right now, but Cloud Dragon is up. You can see that top wave.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of value there. Faker's going to pick up the red buff. That'll be very valuable for this team fight. Clid is level 12. He's
Oh, here we go. Clid. He's just so squishy, and he's going to be burst down in the back. As now, Ruler, he doesn't have a Yuumi to help him out this time. His life was there in the front line, and this is absolute disaster for Gen G. As immediately, 3 of them, 4 of them even, are going to go down. Kana looking for the kill, as that took quite a while. And Ruler did end up picking up the kill. I'd like to say, don't chase the Aphelios into his own jungle. As now Cuz looking to just solo down the Drake. He is going to have a bit of a help from his friends. As another big team fight going to go heavily in T1's favor.
Yeah, and Ruler does end up picking up the kill there. Now the Cloud Dragon does go the way of T1. As let's take a look at how this all transpired. There's no phalanx on the side of Gen G, and you can see Clit's coming over here looking for the tremor sense to see if they're on the Baron or doing anything. Everyone's spread up, and they just get completely annihilated in this team fight because they're all spread out. And there's no way for Ornn and Yuumi to protect against everything that was coming their way. And then Kana, you got to learn how many years it was.
Yeah. A lot of years went into that one, as Ruler now 2-0. And if there ever were to be a savior on the side of Gen G, Ruler would be one of them. We haven't seen much out of this Azir just yet in the game. We haven't seen any miracle engages. We haven't seen any backline access. It's mostly just been a couple of them zoned away from every single fight. That is not good news. We have Azir and Aphelios as your damage dealers. You'll notice the side lane focus out of T1 so far. Kana has, he hasn't had the cleanest game, but he's been really good with manipulating the side lanes. As oh boy, Clid is caught again. He is going to barely live here as Cuz also caught a little bit with the lantern on the other side of the wall. As Rascal not quite able to land that one. Desperately trying to find anyone on the side of T1.
The thing about this is you can just sort of see the mobility on the side of T1 inside of the team fights. All their champions are very agile, and it makes it very difficult for the team composition of Gen G that wants to fight as a phalanx and as a slow-moving tank, essentially. Just can't really achieve that. And with Varus getting stronger and stronger, there's no aid that's really coming to Gen G. There's no item breakpoints in the future. And if you want to talk about a breakpoint, we have Stoneplate on Ornn this game, which isn't going to really be doing anything because even if he activates it, T1's whole fights are fought around cooldowns. So if he activates it, T1 just has options on how they want to use their abilities. And it doesn't really do a whole lot against poke.
No, and you're looking at a quirky Varus on the enemy side, so obviously not going to be too happy about that. But that is the pickup regardless. He is going to be that immovable tank you were talking about. As look at the way T1 are playing around Rek'Sai. You can tell they've done this more than once, guys. As everybody's standing still, even Cuz directly in the middle of the river in no brush is going to just go ahead and stand still. As Cloud Drake's still 2 minutes away. Still a lot of posturing around this objective.
Mortal Reminder was completed on Varus, and probably going to be Duskblade of Drakthar as his next item, also has the Boots of Swiftness. As we can even see Mortal Reminder going to be coming in on Graves here shortly as Rascal.
Okay, someone's got a face check, and it's Stoneplate Ornn. It's one way the Stoneplate can be useful. As now it's up to Kana to try to do a better impression of the Ornn. They're actually going to take down the turret here, but T1, okay, now it's Rascal's turn in the front line. They're trying to burst down Cuz as they get the knockup. As immediately from downtown as Aphelios, but they don't have the damage. As even Faker is going to live. He was in the front line just stoning the rest of the composition away, especially VDD, as more and more poke going to come down. And everybody on the side of T1 will once again survive.
And T1, they are in such a commanding position now. It's a 9,000 gold lead. Cloud Soul coming up in 50 seconds. And as if they weren't already very nimble inside of the team fights. They're going to get even more so with that Cloud Soul, as now they're starting up the Baron, and there's no approach by Gen G, as Teddy is basically Legolas, gatekeeping right here.
Look at him, it's 1v5. 1v4 in the enemy jungle. And he knows he has a Lantern and Flash if he ever needs to get out of there. He is the protector with the mighty bow. As we will take another look here at the fight.
And the lockup onto Rascal, he activates the Stone Plate, he runs away with the Yuumi, and then again, look at Rek'Sai, can't do anything in the fight, he doesn't know what to do, as everyone forms a concave on the side of T1, and it's too hard for the Phalanx to Gen G to fight against, because everyone's ranged, they're all poke, and they have so much repositioning, so it's very difficult for Gen G to find any sort of an opening.
And now Gen G desperate, they go for the Cloud Drake and they will pick it up, but it looks like they're going to lose an inhibitor at the same time. Lantern, simple move. With the Baron, T1 say we can push waves faster than you can take Cloud Drake, and that they will. They take mid inhibitor, they're going down top. And they're looking for yet another engage here effort with his flash. He does need it.
Oh, and Yuumi, again, she's going to be working overtime here. Nurse Joy.
Seeds of corruption.
Oh!
Yep, that was one arrow. One arrow to the face, and he has Mortal Reminder, so he makes Yuumi's job even harder. Protesting the heals on the side of Gen Z, as in comes the ultimate out of the Ornn, but from downtown in their own base is Kana. Hello. They're gonna take down that turret and try to zone away Kana, will Gen Z, but it just looks hopeless on their side. They cannot stop the onslaught that is T1.
Well, T1 now, they've raised 2 inhibitors. They extend the gold advantage to 12,000. And there's just no way for Gen G to get back in this game outside of a Miracle Ornn ultimate, followed by a 4 or 5 man Shurima shuffle. Just absolutely unrealistic situation. So, I don't know what to tell you, Valdez. This one is looking like T1 has this one in the bag. As Corki at 4 items, you can see Silas, not sure what his 4th item is actually going to be, as he has the Blasting Wand and he does have an Amp Tome. So he has options. He can go for the Banshees. No.
Morellonomicon? Sounds good to me.
Well, Corki and a TP right back into the fray, gonna use the teleport. Also has a Vampiric Scepter now, so has a little bit of sustain added into him.
Yeah.
And this is looking like this could be the final siege. You can see Ornn is gonna make one last stand with his ultimate, but this is it.
Yep, I love how carefully T1 play it, even Teddy. Whenever he knows that a potential engage is coming, he doesn't overdo it. He knows his strengths, but he also knows his weaknesses. With Edge of Night down, he will say, okay, let's just wait. 30, 40 seconds, get it back. Let my teammates push. Of course, Faker on the Corki has a lot more mobility. The base of Gen G is in tatters. So they can just take this really slowly in through the bottom lane, as Ruler is going to be knocked up, but that's inside the base. Nobody can really follow up on that one. Faker ever so slowly chipping away, as this time around looking for Cuz. They will get the knockup, but again, no follow-up. That is not the Miracle Ornn ultimate we were looking for to win the game. As at this point, I think it's going to take more than just one.
Yeah. And the other thing here, though, is that Gen G, they do have 3 Cloud Souls, but you can see it's still too far away for Ornn to get his ultimate up again. So, 3rd inhibitor going to go down here. T1 does manage to raise it, and now they're going to back off. So, they have a 7v5 enabled. And the other upside is, if you look at their levels, 17 on Kana, 17 on Cuz, 18 Faker, 18 Teddy, 14 Effort. On the flip side, Ruler 16, BDD 17, Clid is 15, Rascal 17, what have you. So even though triple inhibitor can sometimes actually be a dangerous thing in that you give your opponent a lot of XP and gold that you're then not making access of, T1 doesn't have to worry about that. They're so far ahead in gold, and all their champions are basically at max level.
They're fine. I mean, they're just sitting pretty at this point. As Faker just gonna farm a little bit more, looking for that last item in his build to build on top of the Vampiric Scepter here. And Cloud Drake in 30 seconds at this point with the pressure that the 7v5 does provide. They could just potentially go for it, but you can see all of the lanes now pushed out. Gen G looking to make a 5v5 happen. Really the question is, will T1 give it to them? Will they say, okay, let's fight? Because I'm not sure that they have to. They have so much pressure on the map. And you can see that T1 say that as well with their body language, with their champions. They're just gonna back away. They say, what are you gonna do? Force and engage when we're halfway down the lane? You can't catch me.
And well, BDD, I mean, he has teleport available, but yeah, Gen G, they realize, yeah, we have to give this up. And so that's going to be the Cloud Soul going the way of T1. And Baron coming up in 10 seconds. That'll probably be easily captured by them as well. As we're just taking a look at the CDR, I guess, on the ultimate. It's only 20%, so... Again, none of these champions are champions where you're going to see them potentially cast their ultimates twice in a team fight. And generally, even to have that happen requires 3 or 4 Cloud Souls. So, T1 now posturing. Corki, he has the package. And here we go. That's very fast.
Yeah.
It needs to be a hero. Oh, there's the blast cone, so...
They see it. They see this is happening, and that means that Cuz and Faker will back away. No chances taken here by T1.
Unlike Fnatic, T1 will respect the blast cone and walk away from it, as there's no reason to really coin flip the game here. Now, Cuz does have the option to start this back up.
Now, there's vision here. There's actually just a ward straight in the pit, so they absolutely know this is happening. BDD has TP. It doesn't look like T1 were aware of that until just now when Gen G just immediately walked up to them. And so T1 once again just going to go for a reset. Again, no risks taken, as a lot of inhibitors coming up here. We only have 2 minutes on the bottom inhibitor until all 3 are available. And this game is going to go the distance. We're already here in game number 1, 42.5 minutes.
Well, it is absolutely going the distance, but things are just getting better and better for T1. Obviously, Elder Dragon coming up in 4 minutes. That is a way out for Gen G. That's a potential Hail Mary to try to win the team fights, but if T1 gets it, the game ends almost instantly. As here we go.
Oh, they're trying to bait Ruler in. Look at Teddy's positioning from the right side. He lands that chain of corruption. Ruler is going to have to cleanse that one away, and now Kana in the front line. Good timing on the Zhonya's, and the poke is huge, but they still get the kill. And it's 5v4 now for Gen Z. That is the one stepping stone that they have to take here to slowly come back in some of these fights. You can see that they're trying to zone away Klid as the jungler, as immediately T1 are going to try to start this up once again, but teleport available now on the side of Ornn, and they are going to have to back off of this objective once again.
And it's really surprising. T1, they're being very respectful of the Rek'Sai, but Cuz is the one with the level lead and also the execute priority on the Baron with the Graves. He's going to be much more in control of the speed of the burst. And so even in these dangerous situations, if T1 would get it, the game would end. If they would lose it, the game wouldn't necessarily end. However, they are erring on the side of caution. Kana does have teleport. He's going to be able to come in here in just a second. Cuz probably should eat the honey fruit. He's missing some HP, but no, he's just going to start it up.
Yeah, this time around, T1 saying enough is enough. And with so many members outside of this fight, they are just going to be able to take it down. The spike comes down from Cuz, as now Kana is back with a vengeance, as you cannot get away from every single CC. Can Eladios do it, as he is doing insane AoE damage to that backline? But his ultimate now is down, and Klid is also down. And it doesn't look like Gen Z have the firepower to take it to T1 in this game.
And it doesn't look like Eladios is going to be able to carry them over the finish line here, as That's Baron. This Baron, if by some, I don't even know, some miracle, T1 does not end the game here, if Gen G can somehow manage to sustain, even though one of their turrets are on their last leg. I don't think it's possible, Valdez, but who knows? Elder will be captured by T1,
Yes.
as the Baron does convert into that. So T1 should, 99.999, repeating of course, should win the game.
Well, thank you for that, LS. You gave us the stat, and I believe you are correct. As this time around, Kana, he's got Emperor's Divide. He's going to be looking for Emperor's Ruler desperately, trying to do it, but he's going to get hooked. Does have a Yuumi on his back, but the Nexus just going to be focused down. GG T1 will take game number 1 over Gen G.
And we outlined it inside of the draft phase that there would be pretty obvious problems for the Gen G team composition. And I'm really excited to actually see this kind of collision with team comps, because it was just the other day I was actually talking to the Magic World Champion, PVDDR,
Oh, yeah?
about draft differences, and sometimes both can have a lot of scaling, but one just has a little bit more, and it feels almost impossible for the one scaling team comp to ever catch up to the other. And the only thing that could have bridged the gap here would have been the Ornn. And it wasn't able to in this game. The concave's too problematic. The repositioning available on the champion's really too problematic. And Gen G didn't get any sort of an early lead that might have been able to offset it in the early stages. In fact, they fell really far behind. Rek'Sai was a sitting duck all game. And, well, that was a game number 1.
That was a game number 1, and you can see why that priority on Graves does come through. There is a very obvious kind of idea in T1's mind when it comes to these drafts, as the crowd, of course, does go wild after that win for T1. And the Graves comes out first, and then they've got scaling all behind it. The Silas answers the Ornn. You can see just the insane amount of damage that the Varus was able to do at the end of the day. Almost 1,000 damage per minute from Teddy's Varus. And he was the key player on everybody's mind, especially on the side of Gen Z. Everybody mentioned Teddy. You know, it wasn't all about Faker. It wasn't all about Cuz or anyone else.
Yeah.
Everybody mentioned Teddy. They said he's so clean in the laning phase, and his team fighting is impeccable. Just an all-around great player, and he really brought it to them that time with the Varus.
No, he really did. And I think that the Varus should be a pick that is looked at and heavily contested in tonight's series, or just otherwise outright banned away. And interestingly enough, because T1 were on the blue side when they had the 2 bans stripped from them, doesn't impact them as much, because red is usually the one that is strapped for the bans. But they open with B1 Graves, which I don't know if you're Gen G how you anticipate that.
Yeah.
And then, despite opening B1 Graves, also won the draft and outscaled the opponents, and just had a better team comp overall. So that's a very worrying thing.
It is. I mean, you gave Gen G Aphelios and Ornn, and you're thinking, wow, I mean, great duo. They can scale up really well together. And then T1 say, nope, we got the answer. But guys, we're going to take a quick break before we get to game number 2 of the finals.
20초.
오케이 끝날 것 같아.
20초야. 웨이브 넣으면 끝나. 타워. 웨이브부터. 웨이브.
파스 잡을게.
타워.
아주 들어온다. 이제 아주 들어온다. 아주 좋냐?
퍼져.
타워 하나 남았다.
웨이브 지어봐.
야 싸움 보자. 싸움.
야, 앞에. 그만해.
야 점사할게. 점사.
넥서지.
나이스. 야, 맞으면 앞에 돌이지. 가베이.
아 노플인 줄 몰랐어.
마치 예견이라도 한 듯 황금색 로고 빛내며 정규 시즌 1위로 결승 진출 1왕 젠지. 지금부터 젠지의 스프링 풀 스토리를 살펴보죠. 3분 속성 스프링의 젠지에 대해 알아보자. 2020 스프링 시작하기 전부터 술렁이기 시작한 LCK.
슈퍼팀이다. 반지 원정대. 아무래도 젠지가 많이 리뷰딩이 됐다 보니까
역시 8단주의 눈은 정확했다. 17 서머 농주 우승의 라스칼 BDD, 19 스프링 서머 SKT 우승의 클리, 17 롤드컵 삼성 우승의 룰러, 그리고 든든한 서포트 라이프와 켈리. 우승 반지를 하나씩 손에 끼고 스프링 사냥에 나선 반지 원정대. 영화에선 반지가 파괴된다는 스토리지만 LCK를 파괴해버린 괴물 젠지. 룰러 엔딩에 클리드 BDD 작골 형제의 POG 싹쓸이까지 속도의 젠지를 자랑했지만 젠지 승리 공식 속에 여전히 드르렁콘의 노잼지 이미지를 벗어날 순 없었다. 하지만 DRX전 패배하면 삭발이다. 흑막 군단장님의 엄포 한마디에 앵그리 젠지 모드 발동. 결국 머리카락과 함께 이태원 클라스까지 사수하는 클라스.
빨리 끝내. 그래 이태원 클래스 봐야 돼. 빨리.
믿고 보는 크디디의 머시밴. 활약상과 더불어 안정감 있는 탑의 표로 라스칼의 7승 무패 오른. 게다가 룰러 켈리, 룰러 라이프의 교차 출전으로 조합 시너지를 높인 젠지는 모두가 예상했던 대로 기분 좋게 1라운드를 마무리. 사회적 거리를 두며 방구석에서 솔랭만 엄청나게 돌린 덕일까? 상위권에 3명이나 이름을 올리며 솔랭 깡패 등급, 스크림도르 등급.
저는 1황으로 놓고 싶습니다.
팀 단일화 이후 최대 8연승을 달성하기에 이르는데 킹대츠 젠지가 2위를 한 지가 언젠지. 공동 1위를 내줄지언정 2위 한 적은 기억이 안 나. 하지만 2라운드에서 다시 만난 T1 승리하면 9연승 포스트 시즌 확정. 다들 자신감 있게 전승 카드를 와장창 꺼내는데
18대 3까지 벌어지면서 GG.
하필 만우절 거짓말처럼 와장창 깨졌다는 사실. 전승 카드를 이어가는 대기록은 무산됐지만 개세자는 과학. 그 어렵다는 펜타키를 2번, 게다가 1000킬까지 해낸 재혁이 형.
하는 맛도 어쨌든 나는 것 같고 기분도 좋은 것 같긴 해요.
BDD 역시 1000킬과 함께 POG 1위까지 먹어버렸다. T1 DRX 강팀 잡는 킹슬레이어 하나생명과 기세를 탄 KT에게 뜻밖의 일격을 맞게 되었지만 1위 해야 돼. 멘탈 부여잡고 패승승으로 정규 시즌 1위 확정. 룰러는 생애 첫 LCK 결승에 오열했고 국대 선발전의 젠지, 가을의 젠지는 이제 옛말이 되어버렸다. 이런 젠지는 우승을 갈 거야. 단일팀 이후 2070일 만에 결승 진출. 우승 반지를 거머쥐기 위한 젠지의 치열한 사투. 꼭대기까지 무난히 오를 수 있을지. 아직 끝나지 않은 이들의 원정을 기대해보자.
얘들아 승용보 올려라. 마지막에 에이 TFT 모바일 도동동작 또로로로 갤럭시 도동동작. 에이 TFT 모바일 도동동작 또로로로 갤럭시 도동동작. 또 떨어져 허구와 날라다타. 여긴 갤럭시 너의 자식 얼럭키드. 너의 두뇌 그래서 타지 않아. 21세기 네 전략 이래 전략 능지 차이 나는 널 능지 처참히 롤 아재 롤린 이돌 롤린 인더들 잘게 누나 막아 담아 회전 초밥 뒤집개로 뒤집어라 레디 새끼. 에이 TFT 모바일 도동동작 또로로로 갤럭시 도동동작. 에이 TFT 모바일 도동동작 또로로로 갤럭시 도동동작. 라이어가 멋이 도동동작. 에이 TFT 모바일 도동동작. 에이 온유월 서리 가득 찰 노동작 또로로로 갤럭시 도동동작. 하다 현타 도동동작. TFT 갤럭시 도동동작. 유체 뉴 시너지 전설 등장 머시 패치 우주 도동동작. 리그 오브 레전드 전략 게임 TFT 모바일 도동동작.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think I'm actually on yet. 1 second. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the analyst desk here for the LCK final. I'm Atlas. I'm joined by Jason to help me with the translation. And she's going to take us through exactly what the gentlemen are saying on the Korean broadcast with Wadid and Lyra here as our analyst. Bitdory, of course, is they're going to be hosting. And they're going to let us know what their thoughts are on that series. And then we're going to also let you know what ours are on the global side. And I'm very interested to see what these guys thought of that first match, which was pretty convincingly T1.
Even though actually Genji had the lead in the draft because they had 2 more ban cards, or rather T1 had 2 less ban cards at the same time, Genji was not able to pull off a very big edge during the draft.
Yeah. And honestly, during the entire draft phase, because of the lack of a couple of bans, I think I'm having a few microphone issues, unfortunately. I'm not getting too much fallback, and I can't hear what you're saying, Jason, so that is a bit of an issue, but we're doing our very best to bear with it. And not having a couple of bans and then focusing everything on Cuz should theoretically mean that Klid's going to get a good matchup. It just didn't, unfortunately, and we saw that already. And even with the decision to pick the Rek'Sai instead, I mean, they chose that into the Graves. Of course, Graves was first picked, so that was a big blunder as far as drafts go.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Korean analysts are saying right now, because even though Genji was on the red side, and also they had more ban cards, T1 managed to get all the great counter picks into Genji's pick, so which is really ironic.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, and I think that Genji might have even been expecting the Graves pick out of Cuz. He's been spamming it a lot in solo queue, certainly has a huge KDA on it at the moment. It's sort of like what he's been feeling at this point in time, but I assume they thought that T1 would go for something like an Aphelios first pick because it's been first picked so much. And T1's like, no, we don't care. And they also recently played against DRX where the Aphelios pick felt like a trap, not a high priority pick.
So this is the first highlight they want to mention. Genji was kind of forced into to contest for this Drake. However, T1 was still ahead in the neutral objective, so they were feeling really comfortable going in for this fight.
Yeah, and also T1 put down the Rift Herald, they get control of mid lane, and this team fight isn't actually a team fight. It's just over before it even began because of Teddy's ridiculous amount of poke. And I think that's what people mean when they talk about Varus being so good into the Aphelios if you go down this poke route, because you just say no to team fights. And Genji do have a good team fight comp, but they just weren't able to actually team fight throughout this whole game.
But luckily enough, Genji was able to roll the Cloud Drake to kind of turn the game around, or maybe not letting to have T1 to have a huge lead. However, they were not able to kind of utilize it till the very late game.
No, and also T1 also utilized it by giving away Drake control in order to take over the rest of the map. I actually thought that was one of my favorite pivots, in a macro sense, and really shows how good T1 are because of the amount of control of the map they had and the amount of prioritization that was so good on the fly. You know, that sort of adaptation is what makes a great team.
I also have a question, whether actually T1 had a better comp or whether Poke Varus is OP.
Both?
Both, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I think they had a great composition to take control of an early game with the Graves against the Rek'Sai, which I guess is what Genji decided to go for. Genji had a very Genji style composition, which is group up as 5 and fight, and T1 were able to mitigate it by not only being able to control the mid game with the Poke Varus, but also being able to split the map and play side lanes better with their more flexible and extremely fast-moving composition. I think it was a composition designed very well around what Genji had, and their playstyle.
And this was like a 200 IQ play coming out from Cuz and the T1 players. Actually, Klid was so cautious going into the jungle to get the vision, but Cuz it just stopped there to not get detected, so they were able to kind of pick up Rek'Sai coming in for more
using
visions.
the tremor sense against him. Really, really smart stuff. You were talking about 200 IQ plays. I think Kanna's play towards the end there was a few IQ less than that, running straight into ruler, but that doesn't matter. This is his first final here in the LCK.
It's kind of compensating.
And he went down 0-2 and was still able to perform very well when it came to mid and late game, did his job very well, was able to use the Ornn ultimate not necessarily to engage, but to disengage, which is exactly how they wanted to play out these fights. So, I mean, BDD wasn't able to use any ultimates outside of that one defensive one in a team fight just before dying, and I don't think that that showed what BDD was capable of. That showed what the composition from T1 allowed them to do around the Azir pick, which we already heard from Perks is going to be very important in this series.
Yeah, when I talked to Perks before the interview, he actually mentioned Azir will be the focal pick for today's series. Both team has a really good mid laners who are really good at and very premier Azir players. So he also mentioned that BDD will be so good on this champion, but this was not the game we expected from him on this specific champion.
Yeah, and unfortunately we got the Corki Azir matchup as well, which isn't necessarily the best. And BDD falling down level 1 certainly didn't help as far as his laning experience was concerned, but he was still able to keep up when it came to CS, things like that. I think it was elsewhere on the map that things went wrong. And I do want to shout out Ruler, because he still played fantastically well. He was in a composition that he couldn't necessarily perform in because everyone was getting poked out before any 5v5s could actually happen. But he still played like the Ruler we know and love. And that is going to do it for the analyst desk. Let's throw it over to the casters.
Thank you, Atlas and G-Sun, for the wonderful analyst desk, I suppose. Not even much of a translation, although G-Sun did translate a bit of it from the Korean side. So thank you both very, very much for coming down and helping out with that. Good to hear what you guys thought. We also felt like T1 got the edge in the draft and were able to pilot it quite successfully in that game number 1. You guys will notice there's no subs here for game number 2. So we will see if perhaps the draft can use some tuning, LS.
Yeah, and now T1, I believe, are going to be on the red side. I think. I'm not entirely sure who chose what. However, if they're going to be the ones on the counter pick side, and they just ended up winning the draft despite being on blue, countering what Gen G was doing on red, sounds like a little bit of a recipe for disaster. I want to see Varus taken off the table, and maybe even a gentleman's game with Azir.
By the way,
T1's going to be on blue again.
Yeah, and I think this is because in the LCK, the way it works is the higher seed gets choice of game 1s, 3, and 5, and then the lower seed gets choice on games 2 and 4. So I believe this is T1 selecting blue again because Gen G selected red for game 1, and so we end up on the same sides. And now this is going to be interesting because I will have to notice, you know, does Gen G take one of those jungle bans away, or maybe switch one of those jungle bans over to Graves or a Varus, and also T1 have a couple of bans.
T1 just banning away Elise and the set. And both of these picks are not necessarily anything that I would actually anticipate coming out, or at least not in a... the set, I think that you could definitely make an argument for. Could end up coming out, but so far, blue side does have the benefit of just mostly banning away things that they don't want to play against, rather than something that is really strong inside of the meta and generally needs to be banned or just is going to immediately get picked. So, Graves did get banned, and Kalista and T1 heavy priority again on the Varus.
Yes, once again, it gets selected here by T1, as it was selected on the first roundabout in game number 1. As Gen G, they'll take Ornn, but they're going to skip Aphelios and go straight for Ezreal for Ruler in the bottom side as an answer.
And the Ornn coming in does have flex potency, both mid and top. And Olaf is being hovered. Janna. No, it's going to be the Sylas against the Ornn. Now, Kana last match did not have the easiest of times. He did fall behind early, and then he never really brought it back. And Gen G now, with the Jarvan, they're going to pick that up for themselves. And now we move into the second ban phase here, so Thresh going to be taken off the table.
Yeah. And I do like that they move away from the Rek'Sai. I feel like after game number 1, it wasn't even just the Graves-Rek'Sai matchup. It was just Klid really having no effect in a longer game. And so he wants to have a bigger presence when it does come to early, mid, and late. And that is something that Jarvan can bring in terms of especially some engage here. As the Thresh ban, that's a bit of a mix-up. You'll remember that Genji banned away LeBlanc and Kassadin for game number 1 in phase 2. But this time around, they're going to focus to supports that could go well with the Varus.
Well, Zoe being taken off the table. I mean, Azir is still open here. And Azir is pretty problematic against some of the T1 champions right now. Obviously, Olaf not going to be Graves, so more of a reliance of getting onto the opponent. Yuumi is still open. Okay, there she goes.
See you later.
Yep. Now we could just see R4 Azir again. Let's see if Genji wants to do it. This time around, they are faring a little bit better in the draft phase than they did in game number 1.
Now, the real question is, do we see Azir now, or do they pick something else? Galio is going to be the selection, and this is one of those compositions, I forget who it was, maybe Sandbox or APK, one of these teams that just went for a very straightforward, simple composition when things weren't working out for him, which is, you know, Jarvan Galio. You engage and then you press your R button together, and you're going to isolate somebody.
Yeah.
And so they have the pieces of that kind of composition right now, and T1 see that, and they say, well, let's pick stuff that can shield our whole team, can disengage, can provide poke, provide distance. That is what they're going to go for. Corki and Karma are the choices.
And so they're somewhat in line with their game 1 team composition, but obviously the Karma and the Olaf are a little bit different. It does grant them an alternate mode. The other thing about this is that Varus, one of his strengths is that he's 2 champions. There's Lethality Varus, which is a poke-centric champion, and then there is the attack speed on hit Varus. So the fact that he can be flexed up mid-draft phase is one of the things that makes him really powerful. So they have both options available for themselves here in this game, as Genji is actually going to pivot the Galio to the bot lane and pick up the Zilean for themselves. And this is definitely a much more even draft, I think, out of both of these parties here. So obviously early and mid game going to be much more important than it was in game number 1, and really setting the tone for what can happen in the remainder.
Yeah, can't necessarily just sit back this time as T1, you know, get a lead and not do much rather than fight over objectives. Although, I'm sure we'll see some of that as well. The Zilean, pretty interesting. Obviously, grants a revive, but also a ton of speed to your team's composition. Also great with hard CC. So if there are enemies that are locked up, you can drop a double bomb and they're just going to be stunned for ages, is what it feels like. The question is, will T1 get in range or allow them to find that hardcore engage that they're looking for?
Well, Galio, Ezreal, Zilean, Jarvan, and Ornn. There's definitely a lot of repositioning and a lot of poke that this team composition has, as well as, like you mentioned, the Wombo combo engage that is very straightforward and linear in its approach. So both of these team compositions do have creativity. Obviously, T1 going to be looking for souls this game.
That they will be, as game number 2 is going to be put on right now, as we're going to be starting onto the map here. Level 1, pretty strong for T1. They're going to push that advantage. The Olaf, obviously, quite good at it, as well as Silas and Karma.
And they're just looking for any of the Genji members. They're looking for some action. As you can see, a ward also placed at the top, and okay.
For some reason, I feel like T1 know this. No, they're just going right back in. Okay. So Faker's going to be scouting going back into the jungle. What a wonky start to game number 2.
Yeah, and they're not going to have Kana for this one. Oh no, the game might just end. The game might.
They're not going to go. They don't want to go. They're taking some advice from some of the other teams, and now they see it, and now they're on.
He's gonna skill Valkyrie. He's gonna skill Valkyrie and go over.
Yep. There it is, and it ends up being much ado about nothing, actually. Although the Valkyrie, of course, is going to have an effect on the mid lane.
The thing here, though, is Rascal falls really far behind, as I believe he will miss 3 of the minions in top. So that is really problematic. You can see Rascal is trying to run up there, as Klid is on his patented J4, 27 in 5. 84.4% win rate. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right, yeah.
It's okay. It's nice. Kind of missing a little trade there. And, I mean, we've seen this before in the bottom side. Double Arcane Comet with a Varus that takes it as well. And you just forever zone the enemy comp.
And the interesting thing here is that Karma actually went for Gathering Storm, whereas Varus does have the Scorch. Generally, when we've seen this combo, you see both parties just take the Scorch.
Or the opposite, maybe.
Yeah, or just both take Gathering Storm.
Yeah, let the AD scale a bit more.
But right now, just focus on the bot lane, see how well Teddy can actually do here against this Ezreal and Galio. And things can definitely get scary. Now, Klid, due to the scaling of the Zilean, the Ezreal, and the Ornn, has the option to play low economy, whereas T1, because he's not going to be as fortunate. He needs to be power farming. He needs to be making sure that his laners are in good positions to get the dragons and try to capture them, because T1 wants a soul to win this game. Now, bot wave's coming back into T1, so Teddy and Effort can back up. This gank should never work in a million years.
Nope, it's called out and played very safely here from T1. They're just going to back away. Klid not even going to interrupt a back. Cuz going to take that time to continue power farming. Even going into Klid's jungle. Not going to find anything on that note. It's actually a first pick for life in the bottom side. Every other champion very practiced from the side of Gen G.
And Olaf just getting intel, finding out when the Raptors are going to end up respawning for his team. And you look over at Faker, he already has his cull stacks getting farmed up, fleet footwork on the Corki. So we're going to have a bit of a lull state in the early game here.
Nice.
And that's not the end of the world.
No, it's just fine. Sit back, relax. You can see the wave pushing into T1. So they're just going to chill out, as the lane was in an awkward spot when the rotation was coming out of Gen G. That's part of the reason why they did want to back away from any kind of gank. Kind of missing a bunch of CS here, actually, in the top side.
He's missed so much. That's why the CS score is so close, despite that giant minion wave. And remember the fact that Rascal missed some of the ones at the very beginning, so Rascal, yet again, getting the leg up in this matchup. And when we look at the minimap, the Jarvan, he is behind the Olaf, who's just getting the power farm because all of the lanes are self-sufficient. They don't really need any aid in order to do anything, and this is why it's a little bit surprising that Klid isn't opting into a low econ style. As Teddy and Effort just continuing to hard shove, still have the teleport available. Ezreal has already picked up his tier. And what we're looking to see unfold is if both parties are on even footing in an early mid-game transitional fight, Gen G would be favored. In mid-game, Gen G should also be favored. So the later stages also, there's not a lot of hope for T1, and that's why we mentioned, okay, hold on.
Oh boy. Well, that wasn't the cleanest engage, but they will at least trade a flash to Effort, who doesn't have the heal or anything like that. Life actually looks like he accidentally autoed before he did go for a taunt of sorts, so it looked a little bit awkward on that engage.
Well, a little bit of poke there. So the super late stages of the game, even though there's not a lot of hope, there still is some edges that T1 has with the Corki and the Varus, as that'll be the point that Jarvan and Galio are going to start tapering off. But this game is really going to be about Zillion versus Corki.
Knock up coming in here from Kana just to try to get him out of this one, but can he try to trade this one back? Will he have the Kingslayer on time is the question. He gets the knock up and he has to flash away.
Oh!
Dodging that one, but it is not going to matter. Rascal picks up another solo kill here up on the top side, and we were just talking about how Kana wasn't looking super comfortable up in the top lane and didn't necessarily look great in game one. And that is just going to add on to our beliefs here, LS.
Yeah, I mean, Kana looking very shaky here after a phenomenal performance against Dragon X, where he was a pretty core piece to their victory along with Effort in that series. As Cuz now level 6, he's coming in here looking to actually ruin the blue, and can he get it?
He's just going for Clit right now. Double bomb comes in, but it's not going to actually get the stun, as blue will go the way of the Olaf, and now Genji's bottom lane will come in, but it's kind of just cleaning up a very big mess that's on the ground right now, because ultimate had to be used by VDD. He uses a bunch of mana. He doesn't get blue for the mid lane. Also, the dragon should go the way of T1 here.
Yep. Dragon will go. Okay, Dragon goes the way of T1.
Cuz flashes, but he's actually going back in. They're calling to go back in. There's no Zillion ultimate. And why are Genji trying to force it? Is probably the better question. As now Teddy, he wishes he was level 6. Oh man. He can get an easy flash here. He's still going to get it anyway. As things go from bad to worse for Genji, and T1 will easily pick up what they are dropping.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a pretty nice early Dragon for T1. They get about half a longsword on all of their carry champions. So some nice gold value there. And now Cuz just going back to power farming. Let's take a look at this trade one more time. So Kana misses out on that. Rascal casts the ultimate, gets the Bellow Breath and the Brittle procs, but you can just see that Kana mismeasured the damage that he would have available. And even though Rascal misses the pillar, doesn't end up mattering. Rascal also in that clip had a biscuit available that he could have consumed. And Flid, we've seen him do this in actually many games. Sometimes he just Leroy Jenkins right into the opponents.
And it was Light first. Light Leroyed, and then Flid followed up with a loud Jenkins right behind them. And it didn't look good for either of them. It was just really desperate at the end of a situation where I think you just have to give it away. At that point, you lost the fight. Say, okay, that's it. Not much we can do.
And now Teddy and Effort have a advantage down there in bottom, and T1 are accelerating. This is really integral. So in the early stage and the mid stage, on even footing, Genji would be ahead. But obviously, if T1 is ahead, they're going to have an edge. Now, typically, that's not always the case. Sometimes having an advantage actually only makes it even for some of the mid-game team fights. But in this instance, an advantage for Varus and Corki is meaningful enough against some of the magic tricks that Genji has available inside of team fights.
Yeah.
And obviously, Dragons going T1's way, that's their end game. That's their goal that we mentioned very early on. In T1, they're rolling good Dragons. Seconds Cloud Drake. Here we go.
Okay, so no flash available for Effort, but Teddy does have it 4-on-2. They're going to be targeting down Effort. Teams of Corruption going to go down onto Ruler, but you can see this is just domination under the turret as a proactive play does come in from Genji. They're going to lose some turret plates in mid and top, but still, they pick off 2 kills and some pressure on the bottom side.
Yeah, they relieve a lot of pressure down in bottom. They almost remove the CS deficit that was present between the 80 carries. Now, they do lose plates and a lot of minions. That is maybe actually 2 kills worth of gold that Rascal misses out on just in terms of minions. So you're really going to add it up to see who ends up coming out ahead. While it was important that Gen G do that to stabilize the bot lane, it's not like it just comes over for free. As Rift Herald will give the gold over, and Zilean having his turret hurt that badly this early on is not something that he likely would have been anticipating. And right there, Clid stealing that away is very big because he's down 2 levels right now in the jungle.
Yeah, catch-up XP ain't the same nowadays. As times have changed, we're going to take another look here. TP onto the flag.
Yep. TP onto the flag. They come in with the Warren ultimate. And Teddy surprisingly flashes here, but there's never a universe where he's getting a kill. So, should have just embraced death.
Yeah. If Ruler had turret aggro, maybe. But the second he sees that Ruler doesn't, you just got to let that one go as well. It's hard to make those decisions in a split second under this much pressure, so we'll hand it to him. As now Gen G, they've identified the importance on the Dragons, and they say, well, let's prepare for this 45 seconds ahead. Clid hiding now in the pit.
And this is a scary team fight. Rascal isn't going to be here. Zilean doesn't have his flash, neither does Ruler. We'll see how both of these parties end up posturing for it. You can see Faker just really in the driver's seat here in mid lane. Already completed his call, almost has the Trinity Force even, most likely. Perhaps just like 3 minutes or so away, 4 minutes maybe, from completing that, given that he has so many turret plates inside of him, a kill and an assist.
Chains of Corruption went down onto Ruler. He doesn't have his flash, and it doesn't look like he's got Arcane Shift either. He's just going to go down. As you would have to imagine that was Teddy baiting him into a fight. And I don't know how that's even possible. Teddy's at full health, full mana, basically.
Yep.
Say 80% each as the dominoes fall one by one. As Gen Z are going to lose another kill, another objective. And T1 are just scooping it up, saying thank you very much.
Nope, Mountain. So Mountain Dragon is going to be the dragon that's coming up. Now, it's not the best one. So if you're a Gen G fan, that is, okay, well, hold on.
Well, he's desperately trying to clear the wave, but it's not going to happen.
Whoa.
As he is not going to survive, just barely. Gets away that last auto from Ruler. As nice little rotation, the teleport comes in from Ruler. He's going to get a bunch of gold from this, gets the kill, and some turret plates. But yes, very much mixing things up here on the map from behind.
Well, Ruler is trying to get any gold that he possibly can right now. Ionian Boots and Monomune on the Ezreal. Looks like he's going to be going for the Iceborne Gauntlet this game to have added resistance against the Varus's poke, as well as even the Olaf. Going to be very effective there. Now, interestingly, Cuz is going for the Cinder Hulk on the Olaf. Not going to be going for the Warrior Enchant. And you can just see Chains of Corruption lands.
And he Arcane Shifts at the same time.
And Cuz just senses blood in the water, goes in, ends up bringing him down. And the teleport comes in there. Kana tried his best to defend against it, but it just wasn't quite enough in the end.
Yeah, he's clearing the wave, but maybe if he had used the True Shot Barrage onto Ezreal and just tried to, you know, focus all of his attention onto that squishy AD carry that's only level 8, that may have worked out better for him. But hindsight is 20/20. Under that pressure, he decided he would just go for the wave. Didn't exactly work out. True Shot Barrage, again, ain't what it used to be in terms of clearing minion waves. That's for sure.
And right now, in this game, it's almost a 3,000 gold lead here for T1. 3 minutes until the mountain. Now, again, the unfortunate good thing for, or not unfortunate, I'm not really quite sure what you would feel if you're Gen G, is that at least it's not an ocean. It doesn't feel good that it could be a Mountain Soul, but T1's champions utilize Mountain Soul much less effectively than an Ocean Soul. None of them really stack any sort of resistances except for that Olaf, and so it's not like they're getting a lot of ramp from the 12% if they make it the distance. However, it can be problematic to the Wombo combo engage, but Zilean and Ezreal can actually fight against it.
BDD here, he's going to have to call in his brother Galio. to help against that dive. As Shirley spawning here, 15:58 was the timer. As T1 really making a case to put on as much pressure up on the top side as possible. We see Karma coming in here as well. Ruler and Clid to try to fight against it with 4, actually, from Gen G. Now, I'm not sure if they should even fight over this, Shirley, because we've talked about this before. Turret plates are gone. Even the mid turret is gone. Surely the second Rift Herald is not going to get that much value.
No, and the thing about this is Rift Herald, when there's no turret plates, it's not worth losing your life over. And so we'll see how hard both of these teams actually commit to this. But all too often we've seen team comps that have scaling in their kits all too eager to take a team fight even when they're down on gold or down on levels and whatnot. As Faker making his way up to top lane right now. He's just going to try to shove in the wave. He's going to be met by BDD. He's just going to throw out some Brazilian bombs. And the Ornn items are going to start coming in soon. And this is going to be the scary part of the game. Zillion does benefit from the fact that he's going for the glacial items, so typically they are more affordable. It makes very good use out of the recipe components that build into them as well. But the way that it's looking is T1 could just very well win this next Mountain Drake, and then Gen G have one last dance, which is going to be at the Mountain Soul. But if Gen G can win this fight and get the Mountain Drake, I think it really closes off a lot of chances that T1 would have to win, because that would delay them so much.
Real question is if they can actually put up a fight at this Mountain Drake. I mean, Faker has hit over 200 CS already. The guy is almost 2,000 gold ahead of anyone else on the Rift. He has Trinity Force finish and Manamir. No Muramana just yet, but this Corki is already massive. And that is just something you're going to have to factor into your calculations if you're Gen G. They'd love a hard engage onto him, but he's going to have... I don't think he's got the package, but he's going to be extremely mobile. He has Flash and Valkyrie and the Karma. Can you lock down this pick is really the question.
Well, this is going to be the close fight, where T1's advantage is not super sizable. Because Gen G, they have very durable, tanky, beefy bros, backed up by the Ezreal and the Zillion. You can see Kana looking for some sort of a flank in the backside as, Teddy's gonna recall, get a second lethality item, and I don't know what.
Surely okay, can he get the smite down? No, it's gonna go the way of Clid, as now Ragnarok on the way out of the fight here is because the smite does not land. That is going to be key for Gen G sticking alive here in this game.
And that's really big for them because Ornn gets such insane value off of just that one Mountain Drake, and Ezreal going for the Iceborne Gauntlet. This is potentially 4 Mountain Drakes that could be stacked up by Gen G. So,
Clid! Oh no, that is not the mistake you want to make. Although it is just going to get the Zillion ultimate out for now. He does sustain a ton of damage on the backside. Doesn't end up being too critical at the end of the day, but still able to take down the Zillion ultimate for now. But very key for Gen G that actually they are able to take down Shirley and not allow her to get her charge down.
Yeah. And now the game is much more evened out, as we're probably just gonna have a lull state here. We don't freeze in the LCK. It's not not a thing that we do here, because he used to have a 2-level lead over Clid, but obviously with some aid from Zillion, Clid has managed to catch up a bit. It's a 3,000 gold lead right now for T1. The Infernal Dragon in isolation will still be more valuable than the Mountain, but the fact that Gen G are threatening to now pick more and more up, and they denied the very much needed
Okay. Teddy under turret, basically getting out-traded here by Ruler. And you can see the Ruler full health. He's not having any of it. He's really able to shut down the 1v1 there, essentially. and take control of this mid lane. It does feel like the tides are turning ever so slightly in favor of Gen Z as they have a nice little push going on here with the Glaze to Log Manzillion to help zone away some of the members of T1.
For Gen G, they are getting some ground for themselves. Still a 3,000 gold lead, but Rascal does have both of his ornaments now upgraded as he has hit level 13. So it's going to probably be the Frozen Fist upgraded for Ezreal, unless he can hold off for a while. He'll probably end up purchasing the Blade of the Ruin King, and you could just get Might of the Ruin King there. That would be fine, as Cuz trying to skirt around the vision that the Scuttle Crab has granted, but bot tier 1 turret is looking like it's poised to fall, as Bertha gonna be picked up here by Faker.
Yeah, why not just add to his fat stacks that he's got already? He's looking at a third item. At this point, already has picked up the Seal. So looking to add a little bit of crit into the builds, as is the case normally with the Corki. And you were right about that lull state. It doesn't really look like either team wants to make a big play just yet. So we're going to be sitting back waiting for the Mountain Drake that's going to spawn in about 2 minutes.
And the thing about this, okay, so a very late Rod of Ages picked up by the Zillions. So that is going to take some time to stack up. However, even at the next Mountain Dragon fight in a minute and a half, the beefy bros on the side of Gen G, I mean, the Zillion even has HP. So it's not super easy for T1, and you're going to just see more and more of the problems that the Olaf has. So even though he got really far ahead early game, even though he had a really good start, he was up 2 levels, he's decaying very rapidly right now. There is a lot of friction that is slowing this champion down here in this game. And things are just going to become more problematic. And it's going to be all about the Corki and the Varus, because even the Sylas, how does he realistically engage? All that he is Gen G have Ornn, and then T1 have Ornn at home.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
exactly
much,
what's
yeah.
going on.
That is actually what it is. I mean, he is a Call the Forge God bot, and nothing really else. And we'll just have to hope that his Call the Forge Guards are better, I suppose, at this point in time. Not much really else we can expect from Kana, especially the way the series has been going for this player. Mountain Drake spawning in 30 seconds. Ooh. Not sure how that didn't hit him, as he's got 200 armor.
It's pretty good. It's all
How
right.
is that even possible? What?
Well, 200 armor on Ezreal, so they're electing to upgrade that. There's not another item to be ornamented.
Now, Ruler did take an immense amount of poke damage. You were talking about the beefy boys, yes. Obviously, lots of them on the side of Gen Z, but Faker has been poking him down. He's just going to be able to package away from that one. Gets engaged on in the backline, and Teddy is in a really rough spot, but the Silas is going mad in the backline. Do they have the damage? As yes, Teddy is going to die, but Faker stays alive, and Kana and Cuz, the unexpected duo, get into the backline and assassinated just like that. And now they're looking at the Baron here for T1.
They're looking at the Baron, and because of the champions that Gen G have, Ornn and Galio, they can't just go do the mountain, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a Baron into a mountain capture by T1. And oh,
well,
man.
They're going to try to engage here. Not sure what they can do. Faker, Valkyrie's over the wall. And who's stuck in here with who, as Rascal and Life have to get out of here. Desperate to do the damage, but even a TP coming in as Ezreal TPs into the back line, but he's going to go down extremely low. Kingslayer to death. Down will go Ruler, and more kills added to the side of T1.
And now Faker going to TP bottom. Yes, there's the channel. As we go into the replay, watch BDD, because I don't know what he was looking at here. He gets hit by the Ornn ultimate, and they just gunned for him. Like, all they could see was red. And Ruler brought down immediately too, so Gen G, their integral core pieces to the team composition, fell immediately in the team fight. The 2 champs that they need to protect at all costs wasn't able to be protected. So Baron goes down, and then T1, they say to call an ambulance, but not for them.
Effort flashes it, still dies, but he is a hero. Kana, though, the unexpected return of the king, perhaps, up there in the top side. As, yes, BDD has flash available and ultimate available when he gets ulted there by Kana. But still, Kana able to turn that fight around and make it big because, as you mentioned, once you take out Zilean, Ruler is a sitting duck as he's desperately trying to get into the fight. Just way too ham. We're Klid in life and not really able to get as much value out of their engage. And now with the Baron and another Mountain Drake, T1 look to push and take some more objectives.
Yeah, and they've extended their gold lead to 7,000 right now, as this is really hard to juggle. And again, BDD has a quest item. The quest item's not even halfway complete. Rod of Ages is only at 4 stacks right now. Things are looking really rough as more and more turrets begin to fall. That Mountain Drake was picked up as well, and Varus is a pretty good champion.
Yeah, it's Varus and Corki together. The two bros, they high five once again to clap some of the enemy team with their poke damage, and it's pretty intense what they're able to do together, even with the beefy boys in the front. Nice little stun there onto the Olaf, a bit awkward for him. He's gonna have the Ragnarok available, and the Fall of Forge God interrupted by the call of the Silas God. And no kills will come down here. Cuz will be just fine.
And now T1 is just going to take a brief reset. They have an 8,500 gold lead almost. Can't believe you did that.
Why?
Can't believe you know, I mean, that wolf just
Can't
wanted to
believe
be
he found us.
left alone. And he said, you're coming with me.
He has 324 CS in 28 minutes. You take it away. He's really great at it. And
yeah.
That's one way you can get really far ahead on CS as well. Just take every single thing on the map, including the enemy's CS.
And you look at all of the items. Lord Dominic's Regard actually coming out here this time as the Varus to give him a little bit more of pen against all the beefy boys on the side of Genji. And it's really problematic. Genji, they need to stabilize, but it's going to be so hard because in 2.5 minutes, the Mountain Soul fight, T1 are just, they're going to slap them with their wallets. It's going to be a really, really difficult fight for Genji to win. And it's not even like Genji can utilize a phalanx or anything because the low ground's going to grant T1 the ability to concave very well with the Corki, Karma, and Varus. And even if Genji do funnel up, the Silas will get a lot of value.
All right, well, what is the play here? As already, Effort is going to be targeted down. They're trying to take out the Karma, but in with the package goes Faker, and Kana and Klid, or rather Cuz, able to zone them out here really nicely. Rascal not quite able to land it, and the front line is just going to be decimated. As eventually this entire team with a bit of a mistiming there on the arrow, but it just doesn't matter. And Teddy is frontlining now. BDD and Klid going home with their tails between their legs. Nothing they can do to stop this, as they're going to try to come back now with full health and clear the wave. That is
the minions!
The main objective, but the minions are going to split. And now with the TP, they should have enough time to poke down the turrets and try to take the game. Klid, he knows stopwatch is a great item, but it's not good enough to keep him alive. And T1, they're going to look for the win right now. As down will go the Zilean. He's got a TA, he's just fine. And there you go. GG, the Nexus goes down. Kana saying, I can be Zilean too. And T1 will just continue their dominance in this final.
And, okay, so T1 with an explosive turn of events in the mid-game in order to bust it wide open, convert it into a Baron capture, pick up the Mountain as well, and everything just went their way. From that point, it reached the point where Genji should have stabilized, and then T1, much like they've done to many other teams, and even Genji themselves this split, manage to corral them into very peculiar spots, find the openings, and then capitalize and outplay them mechanically. And this is really dangerous. Gen.G are now down 0-2 against T1, and that last game should have been one that they should have been able to win.
I mean, they had the ability to, but the way that they played it did not show that they had the understanding or the wherewithal or the patience even to get to a point where they were in a position to win some fights. A lot of the time it was just desperate dives. Even at the Dragon, you remember they got invaded and they're like, we've got Galio Jarvan, we gotta go in, and then the two of them just get blown up, and it's like, well, now you've lost the early game, guys. Not sure what you're gonna do from here. And T1, they look poised, they look confident, best of fives. Gen.G, not so much. They don't really look on the same level tonight.
No, they don't. But the one upside that Gen.G does have going for them is Rascal has been winning laning phase. That is something that they are getting an edge in. But the problem is that they're falling apart in the mid game consistently to T1. And now being down 0-2, what kind of nerves might even come into it? What are they even thinking? Because in some of those team fights, Zilean died with Flash Up. Ezreal died with Flash Up. And ult. So many mechanical blunders are being present.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder what is really attributing to it, but T1 looks so quick and decisive in some of the moments. It's nice to see.
Yeah, as we were saying, I mean, they look ready to go. The Zilean pick looked, I don't know what to call it. It just looked ineffective at best. And it just got dumped on in lane, got invaded on, didn't have the power or the priority at all. Faker just owning that with an iron fist. He's able to get the most CS so far in the finals out of anybody, and by far in the game. So I don't really know. It comes to the point now as commentators where we struggle to find a way to think up how Gen.G can change their course, because right now it looks like they're on a course for disaster.
Yeah.
That's really not where they want to be. It's pretty unfortunate for Gen.G, but T1 looking fantastic and clean here in this best of 5. They take the first 2 games, and now they're on match points. LS.
This is scary. This is really, really scary if you're a Gen.G fan, but let's see if they can bring it back when we return.
Yep, we will be back, guys, in about 5-10 minutes with game number 3.
다른 왼쪽 나 걸었다.
나 죽을 수도 있어 일단. 왼쪽 살짝.
살았다. 앞라인 봐.
들어가지 마. 앞라인 봐. 앞라인 무조건 앞라인.
봐봐.
야 이긴다. 들어와. 이겨. 그렇게 봐줘.
딜량 봐도 돼.
야 가자. 상당아 그만. 야 뒤졌어. 나이스. 야 끝내. 들어가자. 야 그만.
들어가지 마.
끝내자 이거.
이거 하려고.
내가 오버고 비체고 앞에 있을게.
다르반 초식이야.
내가 앞에 있을 테니까 기다려.
퍼져 질련 시계 조심.
내가 앞에서 쓸게.
들어올 거야 잘하고. 질련 누구. 타워 쳐야 돼. 웨이브 지어지게 타워 쳐야 돼. 타워 쳐. 타워 쳐. 위에 타워. 끝내자. 타워. 야 질련 누구. 타워.
질련 볼게.
타워 쳐야 돼. 아 천천히 해도 이긴다. 나이스. 타워.
야, 잡자.
잡자. 야, 내 끝낼게.
야, 끝낼게 나.
야, 나 죽어. 아, 시드.
살려줄게.
오케이, 나이스. 잘했다. 죽는 줄 알았네.
LCK 최다 우승 V8 달성한 대황습 T1 덕분에 인터뷰 때마다 우승컵으로 플렉스해버렸지 뭐야. 하지만 우린 아직 목마르다. DRX 꺾고 결승 진출 9번째 우승에 도전하는 T1. 지금부터 T1의 스프링 풀스토리를 살펴보죠. 3분 속성 스프링의 T1에 대해 알아보자. 역대급 드림팀으로 2019 LCK를 제패했던 그들 칸, 클리드, 그리고 꼬마 감독님 그동안 땡큐했습니다. 2020 야심차게 영입한 롤드컵 청사 킹정수 감독과 로얄 로더 커즈
파이팅.
그래서 탑 누군데 전설로 이어졌던 T1 탑 후계자는 누가 될지 소문만 무성한 가운데 혹시 아니야 칸나 로치
칸의 의지를 받아서 칸나가 잘해보도록 하겠습니다.
그렇게 완성된 새로운 T1은 2020 LCK 막강한 조합 시너지를 예고하는데 시작부터 고개를 숙여야만 했던 T1 킹정수 감독에겐
계획이 있구나.
그건 바로 루어의 중반에 모든 걸 걸었다. 그 덕분일까?
버스 탔다. 감사합니다.
초반에 망해도 귀신같이 뒤집는 장면이 자주 나왔고 테디 엔딩에 걸맞는 태사기의 눈부신 활약으로 T1은 행복롤 중. 내가 왜 테디를 말하지 않은 거지? 한국 최초 오너형 미드라이너 페단주까지 번갈아가면서 캐리 돌아왔구나 구저파. 테디 1000킬, 페이커 최초 2000킬의 영광을 안으며 1라운드를 7승 2패로 마무리. 디펜딩 챔피언의 저력을 보여주었다.
이거는 저처럼 돈 많은 사람들이 많이 하면 됩니다.
휴식기를 지내고 난 뒤 다시 시작된 2라운드 다양한 전술을 시도해 볼 것. 엘림을 투입해 늘어지던 중후반 스타일을 과감히 벗어던졌다. POG까지 받은 엘림의 데뷔전은 성공적. 자체 MVP 선정 또한 굉장히 민주적. 형들 차이. 강형 송형 부럽지 않은 이형 박형의 승승장구. 형이 안 되면 동생 차이. 든든한 칸나 에포트 그리고 정글 대통령 커즈도 친형제 같은 팀워크를 뽐내며 3강팀 상대로 전승 달성. 킹슬레이어 하나생명까지 무찌르며 드디어 고개를 들 수 있게 되었다. 슈퍼소울에 대적할 월드혁은 코던빈을 제치고 LCK 통산 545전 기록. 진정한 리빙 레전드로 거듭나게 되는데 정규 시즌 1위 직행팀은 젠지. DRX에게 인장 레드무비와 함께 일격을 날려준 덕분에 고맙다 APK. T1이 2위를 확정짓다. 결승을 향한 최종 관문에서 맞닥뜨린 DRX. 다전제에 오르면 질 자신이 없는 킹 오브 더 비오 5. 첫 다전제였던 신인 칸나는 도란을 4번 솔킬내며 칸나로 레벨업.
결승전으로 갑니다.
젠지 대 T1 결승 성사. 17 롤드컵의 복수를 앞두고 있는데
선에서 알아서 다 처리하겠습니다.
진짜 대형 세단 타고 우승컵 지키러 온 디펜딩 챔피언 T1. LCK 역사상 V9은 없었다. 그들의 9번째 우승을 향한 도전.
결승전 때는 3대0으로 빨리 끝내고 즐겁게 회식하는 게 하나의 소확행입니다.
페이커가 소확행 이루고 T1이 또 한 번 새로운 역사를 써내려갈지 기대해보자.
얘들아 승용보 올려라. 먹여봐요. TFT 모바일 부동동작 또로로로 갤럭시 부동동작. TFT 모바일 부동동작 또로로로 갤럭시 부동동작. 또 떨어져 허구와 날라다타. 여기 갤럭시 너의 자식 얼럭키다. 너의 두뇌 그래서 타지 않아. 21세기 네 전략 이래 전략. 능지 차이 나는 널 능지 처참히. 롤 아재 롤린 이돌 롤린 인더들. 잘게 누나 막간 따마 회전 초밥. 뒤집개로 뒤집어라 레디 셋. TFT 모바일 부동동작 또로로로 갤럭시 부동동작. TFT 모바일 부동동작 또로로로 갤럭시 부동동작. 라이어가 멋이 부동동작. TFT 모바일 부동동작. 온유월 서리 가득 찰노동작 또로로로 갤럭시 부동동작. 하다 현타 부동동작. TFT 갤럭시 부동동작. 유체 뉴 시너지 전설 등장. 멋이 패치 우주 부동동작. 리그 오브 레전드 전략 게임 TFT 모바일 부동동작.
Welcome back, guys, to the LCK Analyst Desk. This is the first time we've done it. I can hear myself now. I can probably... Jason, can you hear me?
I can get your voice.
Oh my goodness, I can
We
hear
got
you
this.
as well. This is absolutely fantastic. And what wasn't necessarily as fantastic was Genji's performance in game number 2. But from the very beginning, I actually really loved it. I thought their draft was really smart.
You mentioned about the rock, paper, and scissors thing.
Yeah, and this is something that you told me existed in Korea as well, with if you're up against a poke comp, you pick a dive comp. That's exactly what Genji did, knowing that T1 were likely to stick to what was working. So really liked that, and it's not going to be another one of those sort of front-to-back teamfight comps, which is, I guess, the paper in that particular rock, paper, scissors that wasn't able to take down the poke comp that stopped it from being able to engage. So really cool. Execution, not so good. And I think that it's showing that T1 are just, on this day, a better team.
I mean, Genji really tried really hard to pull off the meaning inside this engage comp, the dive comp, and they did get a lot of lead, making some kills during the turret dives, but at the same time, T1 was so comfortably getting so much lead somehow.
Yeah. I don't know, it's one of those things, it feels inevitable sometimes in a lot of these T1 games. When T1 are in form, it's almost, you see what's happening in the game and you're thinking, oh, Genji's doing really well, look at the top of your screen, and no, they're not. And, you know, Faker sitting at like 12 CS per minute, absolutely untouched, BDD looking like a shadow of his former self, not being able to make the Zillion pick work almost at all, was really difficult to watch.
Damage.
Yeah. Not so good. And if we remember back, I mean, Yumi did 10k in the game before, so she does a lot of damage, but still, that's not the kind of numbers that you need out of a Zillion when it's just him and the Ezreal that are able to get anything done. As having a look at this replay here.
So this was the perfect timing to actually Genji to engage in, because Teddy's flash was down.
And I think what we need to keep our eye on is BDD and his positioning, and also watch for Canna, because I think Canna also had a good turnaround after what was another difficult early game. Because look, BDD never comes down after this knockup.
And it was so disjointed when Clayt was going forward with the flag and drag, and then Life was also following with the ultimate. Well, BDD was in the bouncy
castle, yeah.
castle, and never able to use any of his ultimate or any skills.
And the whole time, Ruler is just sitting in between both parties, being like, "Can someone please peel for me?" But they couldn't.
And at the same time, when Teddy was actually locked in the J4 ult, he was actually walking forward to land his ultimate on Teddy. That was the Korean analyst.
Yeah, so Teddy actually moving, ignoring completely that there's a big Jarvan in front of him, and instead deciding that he'll kill the AD carry, lock him down, like you say, keep him in that awkward position in between the team fights. But honestly, like, that situation should never happen if Genji are able to play that composition correctly. So I really hope that this isn't now Edgar going back and saying, oh, well, that was the wrong composition choice, and we should try something different. I actually think that that was a great idea. You can do it with lots of different champions. I mean, of course, Jarvan Galio is a fantastic combo to work with, but you can use Galio and pair it with something like a Nocturne if you'd like to as well. We've seen that so many times in the past. I want to see Edgar stick to that, stick to his guns, and, I don't know, give them Michael's secret stuff so that Genji actually performs to the level we know that they can. Because BDD playing like this, if he plays like that in game number 3, I think everyone's going to be very sad. Because we know what this guy's potential is. He was the damn MVP of the split.
I know, right? And he said his goal for the final series is getting the finals MVP and winning 4 awards this split, but this performance is never close to that.
But do you know what the great news is? If they win the next 3 games, then he will be able to theoretically do it, because you only get MVPs in games that you win. As we have a listen in to that team fight from T1.
So we have no smite. So since they have TP, we actually maybe rotate to fight. So let them take the dragon, but actually Genji players weren't even trying to contest it.
Now they know that they're not
Take it
there.
and just back. Take it and just back. Just burst it. Just burst the Baron. And then watch fight. And get him. Ezreal TP'd on blue. Get him. Ezreal coming from blue. It has no arcane shift and flash, and that was it.
And that was just the end of the team fight, and honestly the end of the game at that particular moment. There wasn't really much more after that, and I think that Ruler's TP there does show that it's starting to get to him as well, which is really worrying because he is the glue that holds Gen G together in times like this, right? He feels like the untiltable one on this team, and it's really sad looking at him making a decision like that that seems so rash in that moment to try and salvage something that honestly wasn't salvageable at that point in time, right? They needed to disengage and reassess their options, I guess.
So T1 was outstanding in game number 1 and 2, so I don't think it's gonna be really easy to come back from such a big loss, but it is time to Gen G to show what they prepared. Or the Korean analysts are also focusing on Ornn. They should maybe not put Ornn in such a high priority. Maybe they should think of other alternative picks for top lane.
Yeah, that could be an option. Also, you can ban away the Sylas. I think that it's time to ban Varus. I think that they haven't shown that they actually have a way to go against this poke style composition. So force T1 to show their next card, their next hand, you know, and the other options that they have planned for them, because this obviously isn't something that Gen G is comfortable going up against. So now it's time to flip the script and trying to get things on your own terms. But that can be very hard, because now they allow T1 to surprise them with yet another strategy. As ladies and gentlemen, let's find out what that is as we move into game number 3.
Thank you once again, Atlas and G-Sun, for helping out with the English analyst desk there. As certainly things are looking grim for Gen G, whereas on the opposite side, T1 looks so comfortable and ready to go. You see Ruler here nodding his head. He's been in this position before. He's been on big stages behind and tried to claw his way back. Has been successful. So you can see the veteran here in Ruler is going to try to lead the way once again, as Atlas was talking about, as kind of the cool head of the team to bring their team back in this series.
Yeah, and we'll see what Gen G can actually manage to pull off, as they selected blue coming into this game, and that's going to mean that T1 get counter picks available to them. So I'm now interested to see if T1's just going to do something like Kalista Varus banaways on red, and then maybe even just still invite Philios in, because Teddy, one of the few marksman players in the world that can actually play some mages down in bot lane. We've also seen him pilot Cassiopeia even in recent weeks, so this will be interesting.
Yeah. You just see them there on the desk, I suppose you could say, at their chairs, and the two of them look like masterminds, both Faker and Teddy, by, next to each other, sitting down. And so far, they have really been that for T1. As we do jump into the draft here for Game 3, Gen G not changing up their bans too much. Still, once again, high focus on the jungle, this time taking Olaf away.
And the bans are not what I was anticipating, as T1, the Zoe and Set banned away, and now Gen G, okay, they banned away the Varus. What could they possibly be worried about getting their hands on first? As T1 also banned away the Graves. I'm not sure about this. I'm actually
stumped.
I'm a bit stupefied.
Largely stupefied here with me on the desk, as Gen G have made some interesting calls, and so have T1, as Sejuani is the first pick here. As no more Aphelios or Ornn priority. They're going to go and take a very different route here and give Klid something new.
Well, Aphelios is being hovered right now. And so then it would come over to BDD or Ruler to try to come up with some of the answers for the Aphelios. As T1, I mean, they're the ones that could actually just R1, R2, Aphelios, Ornn, even though I believe it is punishable. You can do that. I think that R1, R2, 80 jungle is nice. Sylas is a very interesting champion in that he can also go 3 roles. So, retaining a lot of value there as a multi-flex pick. Triflex.
Yeah, it also soft counters any kind of Ornn follow-up pick from Gen G, who have shown that they have loved Ornn picking, whereas Kana has just loved playing the Sylas into that. As now Kallista's going to be picked up, will they just pick up Thresh or something else to go along with the Kalista? Looks like perhaps not, as Jace is going to be picked up here, so a very different look to the Gen G composition here on blue side.
And now Kana could actually just go for Ornn. He could also handshake a knife fight by taking Lucian or something like that, but Gen G are full all in right now as it's currently standing, and the ball's in T1's court to just dial it back, size it up, and then have more mid-rangey and scaling champions on their side. So Thresh is picked up here by T1. We're going to move into the second ban phase, probably see Taric maybe get banned away.
Yep, Kalista Taric, another very popular combo in recent times. Blitzcrank common into the Thresh in the bottom side. And we know that Effort is a great Thresh player anyway, so I feel like that pick makes sense on many different levels. Taking it away, granting it for Effort, you've got bans right after. The Corki going to be taken away from Faker this time around, so for those of you who were hoping for Faker onto something a little bit more carry-oriented, or at least anything that's not Corki, you're in luck.
Yep, and there is the Taric, finally getting banned away by T1. Now the thing here is that T1 will probably select either another flex champion or just the mid champion outright on R4 in order to still retain value on the Sylas, although he's most likely only ending up in mid, or jungle, sorry, as it currently stands, as LeBlanc was banned away, Azir now pretty common R4, and this is Korea, so it's not likely that we're going to see something like Vygar come in here, even though he's really good against all four champions on the side of T1 right now. So I'm really curious to see, with Corki banned away, we could see Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz would be somewhat on theme with the Jace and the Sejuani.
Okay, well,
what?
You take away Thresh, Taric, Blitzcrank, and what else are you going to put in there in terms of a beefy support that you can throw in? I was thinking maybe an Alistar or something like that, but instead they go for a Volibear, which is common into Yuumi, but as you guys know, we haven't seen her just yet, and Zilean is going to be ran back here. So that Zilean is going mid. Rascal is playing Jace as Gen G reveal their composition, and now T1 have the option to counterpick, as I see LS over there shaking his head, not too happy about the Renekton hover. But will Kana be taking that? The answer is not likely. Okay. Ornn. Oh, saved.
Hello. Welcome myself back to the desk as Ornn was locked in finally on R5. It is the historic counter to the Jace. The other option would be the Yorick, but we haven't seen Yorick.
Yeah, this is Korea. They don't play that.
You're right. This is Korea. They don't do stuff like that. So Ornn coming out. Now, the thing is that Gen G, this will come down to Zilean bombs versus T1 at 3 items plus. Ornaments are going to come out. It's going to be very obnoxious. Sylas has very key ults that he can steal away from the opponents that are really problematic for Gen G to juggle. So even though there's a Zilean, it feels like Gen G need to be the ones to get ahead, and they're coming into this match with the onus on them. High amount of responsibility to do something, and it's going to be really hard. You're playing Zilean with Sejuani in the jungle. That's a very weird pairing and combo.
Yeah.
There is a lot of misalignment here, and I feel like game number 3, T1 walk away yet again with a very powerful draft edge.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit scary. It doesn't mean Gen G's out of it. The Zilean in a vacuum is really good. He can beat T1's team composition. The bombs and obviously his ultimate, but also enabling Kalista is very big.
Absolutely. I mean, just enabling her to be frontline and giving her a lot of speed, and of course, reviving her when she does go down. So guys, very interesting draft. So once again here, Genji, this time on blue. Let's jump into game number 3. There you go. As I was a little bit confused about that for a second, but when you play Kalista into Sylas, the Sylas gets a target that he can use Fate's Call on. And so he will choose Faker, actually. So he's not going to be throwing in an Ornn or an Effort or anything like that for an engage. He's actually going to use it for safety for Faker if the time does need it. So he can hop forward, steal Ruler's ultimate, save Faker with the Fate's Call. So cute little thing there as Gen Z go for a little bit of a walk through the jungle and river. They don't find much, but they put down a ward.
And Azir having that free get out of jail card, the Quicksilver Tom Kench, is basically what it is. I don't even, maybe there's a better name for it. Tom Silver Sash. Is we can go places. I mean, it's basically what the ability does.
Tom Cash. With a K, of course.
Oh man. Do you wonder if Tom tells people that every kiss begins with K? Like that commercial.
He would be the one. He would be the one.
All right, well, here in this game, we take a look at the runes, and everything pretty standard. We have Gathering Storm on a couple of champions as well. So everything is looking like we're going to brew up for a mid-game. First dragon of the game is Mountain.
What do you think about the Omni Stone on the Volibear?
That's an
just to interject it, right? You know, as you were talking about the dragons.
Well,
we see it on support set, so maybe it's a similar idea.
The thing is that it feels like it's so hard for Volibear to do anything in this because Fresh Play, Fresh Hook, so good at stopping him. I'm really curious to see why they picked it here. And you can see Jace feeling somewhat comfortable up in top lane with the call. Klid he's looking to Sin to start things off as 2 camps into a blue side invade. Life's going to come over and help him out, so managed to make it work that way. Cuz was opting for a full clear, and Kana just sitting really pretty up on the top side, and we just have to really pay attention to Rascal on this Jace to see what he can do. As Cuz looking like he wants to go for the blue buff of Sejuani, but take a look at Klid, this pathing. Now, Cuz has Smite, and this can get a little dangerous given that Jace has Prio, but it looks like he's going to be able to get it and steal it away.
Klid taking his time, actually. It looks like he was waiting for the Scuttler.
Oh, no.
And now Rascal, what an awkward spot. He's baited into this one. Will he go for the Fat Flash? He gets flashed on, and then a miss. Because of the misread flash, the kill is still going to come down. But the roam up here from BDD will net Gen G their own kill. Although First Blood was given over to Kana.
And the thing about this is that BDD did end up roaming. Now, Faker actually killed all the minions really quickly, perhaps wanting to get a recall off that doesn't consume his teleport. We'll have to see. And take a look at this. Cuz comes up, and he goes for now he's playing a mind game right there by holding on to it to see if Jace will flash first, and then mispredicts where exactly Rascal ended up flashing to. And it ended up being a 1-for-1, but that's not the end of the world. So First Blood went over to Ornn, which is really valuable. He ends up building a Ruby Crystal first. Life and Ruler are going to pick up the Scuttle Crab on the right-hand side. And all things considered, it's not that bad of an opening for Gen G, but Mountain Dragon is something that T1 wants to be able to get early.
They want to lock down that objective if they can, because after that start, it's just going to return to the Krugs that are going to be respawning here. Faker himself just farming it out. He's going to be a bit ahead on CS because of the way it did go down in the mid lane. Zilean not very good at CSing with his auto attacks, especially under turret, especially if, you know, it's kind of an awkward situation where a lot of the minions are taking damage. So he's going to get behind. Faker taking a little bit of an aggressive trade here, but not all that much, as we really want to see where these junglers are going to go. Lid, he hasn't really, you know, he was able to get up there and help with the initial kill, but other than that, just kind of farming it out as a nice little trade up in the top side. Kana this time around, looks more comfortable on that Ornn.
Now, Genji actually are going to be the ones to convert their bot lane prio into a Mountain Drake capture, as Cuz is more preoccupied on the left-hand side. And Kana, he went Balmy Cinder as the first. Oh, man.
Level 6 is taken, and Rascal doesn't have flash. That's about as easy as it gets. Cuz doesn't even wait for that one, and look at that giant wave that, or rather, Rascal is going to be missing.
Yeah.
Up in the top side. That is pretty dire straits for him, although he does have that teleport to get back to get some of it.
Yeah, and we can just see Jace was trying to get the recall TP off while he knew that a cannon wave was coming in, so he's not going to lose any minions, he'll lose one melee. But T1 capitalizing on that timing. And now, Kana is brewing for another solo kill. He elected to take Ignite, and now all that he's going to have to do is wait for the ultimate to be back up, and Jace has to be really careful not to fall below 750 HP or so, which, you take a look at his max HP, it's only 916. So, Ornn is able to get Jace into the Ornn combo lethal range really easily inside of the lane. And that is a very scary line to walk if you're Rascal when you don't have flash.
Yep. Just wait for it. Take a couple of trades, you'll have a fun time. Look at Teddy. He knows he has the lantern. He'll just hang around, get as much value out of that as possible. But this Rift Scuttler still going to go the way of Klid, who does pick up level 6 now on that Sejuani. Cuz still level 5 up in the top side, trying to catch up.
And the bottom right-hand side of the map has slowed down. The one upside, though, is that Teddy is not walking out of this laning phase massively victorious, as Ruler actually ahead a little bit in CS. And you can see Kana trying to shove in. Not going to end up getting a turret plate here, but it's not the end of the world. Now, the other thing that is a bit peculiar is that the lethality is the item of choice for Rascal as his first items. When with the Zillion, I would have thought maybe we would see a Monomune build that we've seen previously in the LCK, and then you try to play a poke war against T1 using Zillion bombs and Jace shock blasts. But the lethality is going to taper off very fast in the early and mid game against some of these T1 members. And he's going to really have to show up big in the mid game in order to have value. So Sunfire Cape is almost even built for Ornn.
He's kind of awkwardly gotten behind, has Rascal. He doesn't have a big lead in CS. He's 0-2. He's missed some XP. He's level 7 to level 8 of Kana. And T1 say, you want to fight? I mean, we will come to you. Kana does have that call. The force gun, and it's stolen by Cuz. The bombs will come down, but Glyn has the Zillion ultimate on top of him. But the Sejuani ultimate not going to get Cuz in the back line. As now Effort lining it up in the front, and in comes Cuz once again. He is going to go down, but he sets up the kill onto the Kalista, which is really all he was looking for there. Teddy, 2 kills, double buff, and T1 pick up the Rift Herald, and it's not done yet. This is a greedy recall. You do not have to recall there, and he gives a 3rd kill to Teddy.
And that's going to also be the blue buff going over to Faker, most likely, as Aladios is not going to end up getting it. And you can see that Klid is trying to run over to the left-hand side. He's going to get the bad news. He's going to start up the Gromp. But Kana, in the meanwhile, getting another turret plate. Klid cannot kill Kana here. Bellows Breath would be able to invalidate any sort of a chase or lockups. Ornn is one tanky boy, as he's going to clear out that minion wave. Already got the turret plate, now he's going to channel the recall. 2,000 gold lead here, super early on. Let's take a look at how this all transpired. So, T1 rotate over, Cuz gets the steal. Horn comes out, double knock up onto key targets. BDD could pre-enter the fight. Zillion ultimate, just not getting a lot of value. Clid has to flash away, he knows it's gonna dissipate. The ignite from Ornn ends up killing him. In the end, in the back line there, Cuz almost got the HP restore on the Silas. But Teddy and Faker playing cleanup crew. And I like how Faker accounted for if Jace walked back further, he would go down.
Yeah.
And maybe look to cover it up.
베이스 칼리 노플. 칼리브
나이스.
나이스.
아,
오케이, 침착해.
Calm down. At the end there.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can tell that Teddy's having fun, right? He's got a big smile on his face. Nice. Comes out, and he's 3-0. Now he's behind on CS, but 3-0 is a great feel anyway. So he's going to be having a good time there after he picks up level 7 from this giant wave that's coming in. And now T1, we'll see if they have the access to fight in here as, okay, TP's coming in. Then they're just going to go for it here, Genji. They really want to get this, but it's stolen again by Cuz. Another objective taken as the smites are good here for Cuz at the end of the series. As down will go the bear, not having much fun in this game at all.
Rascal.
Faker, he's on vision. Rascal desperately trying to get on top of him, but he can't. He's going to be hooked and killed. As
Truly a death sentence.
Yep, the kill does go the way of the Thresh, and Faker stays alive. How about another kill and an assist for Teddy, who is absolutely gigantic in this game.
And this is looking really grim right now for Genji here. As T1 extend their gold lead even more. The Rift Herald's gonna come out. And Teddy, wow, is getting so much damage. And I believe,
well,
no, actually.
I don't even know what to say about this.
700.
He even barriered early. That was just a little bit of overconfidence, and whoever was saying calm down, I think they got to tell Teddy one more time.
Well, we take a look at this team fight. Another really good steal away. Rascal couldn't quite kill Faker. And then look at the right-hand side. He misses yet another shock blast. Feels really unfortunate. And then it was all just about dogging him down here. So let's take a look at this one more time. Silas, point of view, Windows mode. Look. And he has the Zillion ultimate. He says, I'm okay. And then it cuts back into live, and they commit a teleport here. BDD slows down Teddy, goes for the double bomb, and Clid actually takes it, which...
Why?
Yeah, well,
why? That was even, killing Jace fast, I understand. He can be scary at times. Killing Teddy, who's on 0 health and is going to die to the bomb. Just give that one over. BDD will be desperate for gold as the game does come along. Ruler here, he's got the most gold on his team. I think he and Clid are pretty similar there. As Kana, we talk about how Ornn is a ninja. Here's one moment where he's got it going on, as now the exhaust is going to come in. Really nice knockback from Rascal to save him there. But yet another trade going to be won by Kana. As will they go in for this one? The box comes down, but it doesn't quite catch the bear. So the bear trap ineffective this time around.
And Faker getting slowed by Zillion.
Oh, see, he went in for the plate, so he got out of position. He got the plate, but then he felt like, okay, if Clid's here, I'm dead. So I might as well just be safe and flash.
And now Faker. Just wave clearing in mid. Ruler is the one upside right now. Oh, okay, he's dead.
Well, now he doesn't have flash.
It's a nice
easy follow-up for Clid.
Nice big kill for them. Jace also completed his call. 1.5 minutes now until the Ocean Dragon comes up. Faker's not going to have flash available for that.
Oh, Ruler, what is going on? He's just getting in there. Although Effort is the smart one. He immediately puts down the lantern. He's like, nope, we're not winning this fight. We got the heal out of him, but we're not going to kill him. And immediately Effort is really on position. Effort's quietly having a very clean and great series so far.
And T1 grouping for the second Rift Herald here. They should be able to pick it up for mostly free, as Rascal tries to dish out some damage, but the real fight is going to be at the Ocean Dragon, coming up in 50 seconds. We'll see how close Faker is to getting the Gnasher's Tooth, as Kana has 2 of his ornaments completed. I'm going to pretend that there's not a Frozen Fist, but
yeah,
totally fine. It does have a lot of value against the lethality. So the extra armor is good there, but obviously missing out a little bit on the Abyssal Mask, given that there's enormous amounts of magic damage on his team and all that HP and mana. But Faker, so he just got caught out here. The wave was coming into the turret no matter what, and Cuz is on the right-hand side, so it would be safe. He didn't need to walk that far up, which, interestingly enough, the reason that he flashed seconds prior to that was if Sejuani comes out of the Fog of War over the wall, he would have been dead to a Zillion Bomb.
Yeah.
But then he stands in a spot that leaves him still susceptible to it. So
Roller and Life in a brush down there. It doesn't really feel like it's shown. It's like there's no brush there, but actually there is. So just pretend there's a brush there, guys. The Light, Clid, and Ruler all grouping up. Speaking of grouping up, T1 over here. Faker taking a little bit of damage. He wants to go for a back and get full health, but no TP left available.
yeah.
This Dragon will be started up, and it doesn't look like T1 really want to fight too much, although here we go. Kana is going to come in and check it. Will Cuz get here on time? It looks like the answer is no. Death sentence actually pretty close.
Huh?
Ultimate is going to come out. Not sure how they plan on killing the Ornn. And it doesn't really pan out as down will go Shirley.
Oh.
And now they found BDD in the mid lane. Going to force that ultimate out here from the Zillion. Shock Blast doing a lot, and in goes the Bear into that back line. But Kana and Cuz having a lot of tankiness between the two of them. Kana just going to heal with that Unsealed Spellbook, and the push will continue. They take out a turret in the mid lane after all of that action.
And T1, they're still retaining about their 3,000 gold advantage over their opponents. They're waiting on more core item completions to come in. And Ruler is the really scary problem right now, because he is so massive on this Kalista. He has almost a third, I mean a little bit over actually, 30 CS advantage here over Teddy. Kana gonna rotate down to bottom. Now, if you're T1, you still have 10 minutes until a soul would come up. You can easily just scale into ornaments and keep purchasing them on all of your champions. So you get Zanya's Paradox on the Silas, get the Molten Edge for the Aphelios. And you can see that Thresh already picked up the Mikhail's Crucible. And things are in a little bit of a standstill now. It's very hard for either team to force a team fight without the opponent somehow being able to consent otherwise.
Yeah, that is very true. I don't think, unless there's a big mistake making, that either unless there's a big mistake made, I don't think anything's going to happen here. As speaking of mistakes, you have Life getting hit from downtown, but the Volibear is going to be able to heal back up and be just fine, but did have to flash away from that one, so a little bit of a mistake made to grant T1 some ability to move in here on this top turret.
And as it currently stands, Faker still just shoving away up in top lane. Not really doing a whole bunch. We're just going to play ping pong now. This is one of our favorite pastimes here in the LCK.
Big fan.
It wouldn't be a final without it.
It's true. We need to have it here as, is that 334? Oh.
That is 334. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a thing. Ooh.
Like, who wins this trade? Yes, nice knockback, but like,
Ornn is very unpleased.
That was his full combo, like everything.
Yeah.
He could have used every cooldown in his kit. Let's hear he's like, I can't help you. What am I gonna do? There it is, the mage, the wizard, the absolute 200 IQ genius that is a Ornn from 2 levels ahead, is able to clap the Jace in front of the 2 of them. And that tank has Smite, by the way. He's level 13.
Yeah, and he TP's in, and Sejuani on the right-hand side of the map. Now, she should be able to get here in time for this to be a Smite fight. You can see Klid almost there. He has Flash, and remember he has his ability to move forward.
Okay.
Oh, but he gets stopped!
Okay, gonna get in there, and, well, there you have it. The Smite will go the way.
Oh!
That's a nice couple of bombs. In goes Light. Do they have the damage,
No,
though?
they
And the
don't.
answer is no. The AoE damage coming out here from Teddy is huge, and Ruler is trying so hard, but he can't quite do it alone. As now we got another Ornhorn, by the way. It's up again. They've got one Cloud Drake. It's going to help out a lot as down you go. That's a bruiser, by the way. Just going to smack him down. And that will be another kill going the way of T1. They take Baron. They get pretty much everything. As now with the Ocean Drake coming up here, T1 are just so far ahead.
Well, that is potentially the nail in the coffin, Valdez. That was such a series of events that just ended up unfolding. And I have no idea what to even say about it. And remember, this is Ornn, the Mage, Death Knight, Paladin, Hunter, Rogue, Warrior, Enchanter, Tank, Bruiser, Wizard, Warlock, Priest, Assassin, Gunslinger, Druid, Shaman, Necromancer, Ninja, Bard, Monk, Robot, Conjurer, Blacksmith, Mystic, Warding, God, Illusionist, Templar, Wizard, showing what he can really do here in this game. The Baron ends up going the way of T1. Klid almost was able to get there. It was a Hail Mary attempt, and the Volibear sort of goes in, but then I don't know what he's supposed to accomplish, because it's not like he's being fasted by Senna, and he has excess items or even higher base levels. So, for the most part, just able to be ignored. And like you pointed out, much like a Wizard, Ornn has the ultimate up again.
Yeah.
And Rascal just gets brought down. So in live, though, we get another fight.
Omnipotent.
Yeah, and it looks like
The high fives are already coming out. I think the coaches know this is clean so far, this series. Now Cuz has got the angle. Oh no. We're gonna get the knock up here, and you see just huge amounts of chunking in the front line as BDD just desperately is gonna get that double stun, but it doesn't matter. As everybody else is just gonna be burst down. They're smacking them with their wallets, as our good friend Atlas would say. And there it is. The hook is gonna come down. No more ultimate for you, BDD. See you later. Effort's gonna go down, but it doesn't matter. Teddy is gonna pick it up, and I think that was the unofficial
that
penta.
was an unofficial penta.
He got the triple-double here in League of Legends. 9-1-4. This Felios is doing a lot right now, and there's nothing that Gen G can do to stop him.
And I think that this is probably all she wrote. T1 have now gone up to almost a 10,000 gold lead here at just such an early game point, all things considered, for what we expected out of these two team comps. And take a look at this. As the Ocean fight, you can see Gen G, they're lining up for Ornn. And even though he doesn't hit a Miracle Ultimate, it's so hard for Gen G to juggle the aggro. You have a Jace playing backline, trying to peel for the Kalista and the Zillion, but Zillion doesn't offer enough right now, and just the base levels and the wallets on the side of T1. Insane value and really good angle of engage for T1, where Gen G just couldn't really juggle it, and things are falling apart all across the map. Ornaments are starting to come in on the champions on T1, just to add insult to injury.
Yep, it's pretty insane what they're able to do. And it was insane that Kana was only able to hit one person when they were all lining up in a literal row. But he managed it. It didn't end up mattering. But they still were able to win this fight heavily. Because now they're just pushing without Baron. Baron going to spawn in 2 minutes. Who knows if this game is even going to last 2 more minutes at this rate. Ruler is their only hope, but when you're going up against this much power, I don't think it really matters. Kalista doesn't quite have the range.
No.
Nor the firepower.
And we'll see. As Faker is going to get the blue. And I am looking, I'm looking at the items here, and things are just looking really rough.
Yeah.
If
You're
you
also
look
looking at a
across the
champ,
board.
by the way.
Yeah, I am looking at a champ.
Because at this rate, I think we can already kind of say that T1 have solidified their spot on that throne. We'll see if Gen Z can pull off the miracle comeback, but it's not looking good. Not gonna lie to you guys.
Well, this is really Doom's spot. Now, Gen G, they did buy themselves. Well, they have a lot of time bought because Ocean Soul doesn't come up for a while. Baron in 50 seconds is scary. However, Zilean can try to wave clear, and they could try to give up inhibitors and then try to stay afloat inside of the game. So maybe worst case scenario, if you're a T1 fan, you're waiting about another 9 minutes for an end. But T1 could easily just blow this wide open in the next 3 minutes and also end there. Not really a whole bunch of options that can unfold, and man, a 3-0, Valdez. That is what's on the menu apparently.
Yeah, it was not the most common prediction. That was actually 3-1. That did get predicted. Everybody did predict T1, and you know, after seeing the series, I suppose that does make sense. Gen Z is going to make one last stand. They're just going to go for it. Going to try to land some bombs on a Teddy who has Severum and insane amounts of lifesteal. He's 9-1 right now, as he's just frontlining. I'm not sure about that one. He does have stopwatch. Can he actually get out of this as he immediately flashes and look at the AoE damage? That should be the nail in the coffin right here. As 3 members, though, of Gen Z will be able to get away. T1 now, they have the Rift. It is their oyster. They can do whatever they want with it. It looks like they're going to send a couple over to the Baron and 3 towards mid to push. Because as I mentioned, they can do whatever they want. They can even teleport Faker back into the fight to continue pushing, as there's still 20 seconds left on Ruler's death timer.
And they're achieving multiple things at once here. They're gonna raise the mid-inhibitor turret while getting the Baron.
Yeah. Not gonna push to end just yet.
They're gonna go for a reset off of this, probably pick up the Ocean Dragon. And things are looking really grim. 13,000 gold lead here for T1 in 27 minutes. And the Fabled book has been completed, and in it lies on the first page, Gen G.
Absolutely. They've written it down. Look at Teddy. He's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
So Teddy ends up going golden. It buys enough time for Eladios to do a lot after he comes out of the stasis. And it was just a pretty easily won team fight.
Well, Rascal here, just to add insult to injury, is going to be demolished in the bottom side. And there's the Ocean. As you do see that it will go down one more away from the Soul.
Yep.
As this feels like the end of an American football game, you know, where they're like 14 points ahead and there was an interception. It's like, okay, there's 2 minutes left in the game, but everybody's already celebrating. That's the way it actually feels right now. Because T1, there's, you know, Teddy almost has 5 items, or full builds at this point at 30 minutes. They're just tanking it. Kinda, you know, he's got like 400 armor. What does he care? TP will be coming in. As they're seeing engage, they find Ruler. He is going to flash away, but for how long? He is actually able to get away from the engage of Cuz. As Cuz will just hop away. Down goes another inhibitor. As from downtown, by the way, he's just going to ult himself just in case. Didn't want to add another death onto this one. 1-1 and 5 looks okay for BDD, at least in the loss.
Yep, and now they're just shredding the turrets. Help from all the minions.
There you go, the double knockup. He finds Ruler on the bottom side. Bullabear dies, and that is going to do it. T1 are your LCK Spring 2020 champions in another 3-0 victory in the world. As T1 dominate their opponents, Gen G, it was not close. And they will once again sit on the throne that is the LCK.
And T1, they came into tonight's series, they 3-0 the opposition in dominating fashion. It wasn't even close. And they walk away victorious. Faker continues to extend his streak of finals, only having ever lost one. That is such an insane stat when you consider it. So the legacy lives on. And T1, it feels like they just came into this much better prepared. They seem to be much more comfortable even inside of the games. And then Gen G ended up getting bested really quickly here tonight.
That they did. I don't think it was the fastest finals we've had amongst all the regions, but it might have been second fastest. It was even the games, you know, if it weren't for game one that went to, 46 minutes or something, this would have been the fastest final. And really I think it was halfway through game two where
Kana Royal Road it.
He did. He made it.
Now, I don't know what you would call it. He is inducted. I don't know.
He's a Royal Roader.
Yeah, he's a Royal Roader. So if you're not familiar with the term Royal Road, it is I guess not an award explicitly, but it's an achievement that you earn in Korea when you debut in the Major League for the first time as a starter or a first comer and make it all the way to the finals and then win it.
Yeah.
So you only ever have one chance ever in your career to Royal Road. There's not a lot of Royal Roaders in the history of Korean majors.
Yeah, and I actually have a list on that note. Shy Mata, Tom Blank, Cry, Hooney, and Prophet, Cuz, Clid, and Gory are the other Royal Roaders. So add Kana to that list as a Royal Roader. Add a 10th LCK title to Faker's list. 10. He's been to 11, which by itself, even if he didn't win every single one, is insane. But guys, I'm going to hand it over to Caster Chun, G-Sun, to help out with this one. We will be back.
Once again, this is our 2020 LCK Spring Split Champions, T1. Thank you. Let's be an interview with the T1 players and also the coaching staffs. Faker, you have so many records. But first, let's wait till all the crews to join. So let's start off with Coach Kim, the leader of this team. Another title going to your pocket, now on a different team, T1. Once again, congratulations. And how do you feel right now? I'm happy that we won. And I'm just want to say, the players did so well. I feel like I did nothing. I think all the players made it. And I just want to say they did a great job, and I'm super happy. Thank you. I mean, 3-0, and it was a one-side stomp from the side of T1. But before the game, you said, well, we don't know until we actually play, and sometimes we fell really behind through the screams. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really predict this. I never knew that it's gonna be 3-0, but we had a really nice momentum, and players knew how to roll it. And they were so good at macro. So with that huge momentum, we were able to close out the game with 3 games. So, who would you pick as the MVP for today's series? I always mentioned all 5 players. But I mean, today, I cannot pick just one player. Because League of Legends is a team game, and all 5 players did their role fully. And Cuz with the mic. Today, your game up against Clid. Some people said it's gonna be a close or hard game for you. However, Graves in game number 1 that easy kill on BDD. What happened there?
알고 있었는데.
Well, I knew it,
일단
but he actually really passed in
오늘
that
좀
path.
많이
So
떨렸었는데
luckily I
그래도
was able to get that kill, and I was super nervous before going into game, but
그 1킬이
the way we played, the result we got was so good.
1세트 내내 해설위원들이 강조했거든요. 그 1킬
That
딱
one kill was so
긴장도 많이
crucial.
되고, 쉽지 않은 승부에서
So how were you
이
able to
킬을
get
딱
that
누구가
kill in
작성했어요.
such a nervous
이
and
어떤 의미였을까 싶어요.
important situation?
일단 1킬 따서 이제 저희
With that
팀
kill,
분위기도 더 좋아지고
Our atmosphere was getting better, and I could feel more comfortable. And at the same time, we could put a lot of pressure onto Genji.
네. 안동의 자랑.
Kanna,
네. 소감 말씀 하셔야
how do you
될것
feel
같습니다.
right now?
일단은 좀 제가 오늘 경기
First
좀
of all,
아쉬웠는데
Well, my performance was not satisfying, but all my teammates were doing such a great job, so I was able to get this win. And our coaching staff, head coach, and my teammates, they were doing so much work. Without them, I couldn't get this result and win the title.
형대의 어떤 면이 오늘 경기뿐만 아니라 쭉 이렇게 돌아보면 사실
Not just
로얄
today.
런던 아닙니까?
I mean, you became
안동의
the royal
자랑,
worlder.
그 입단이었거든요. 정적 입단,
You-
입단이 안동의
you
자랑이었는데
were
이제는 우승까지
Just
갔습니다. 형들
come
어떤
joining
면을
T1,
평가하세요?
but now you are the starting top laner, getting the title in LCK in T1.
이제 경쟁도 나름대로 했고
I know there was a huge competition, right?
형들 많이 있어. 고맙다면 형들이
You said you thank your teammates really
아,
a lot.
위로해주고 다
I mean,
같이 알려주고
they taught me so much things. They were helping me out.
보니까 사투리가 나오네.
They were making me feel so comfortable.
여러분도 고마워. 항상 또 뭐 그 가족 얘기도 했잖아요.
And you always mentioned your families.
고마운 분들께 형들도 있고 고마운
Is
분들께
there
한
any
말씀 하셔야겠어요.
word you wanna add lastly?
날일 때
Whenever it was my game day,
응원 메시지 다
they
주시고
always messaged me,
가족하고 다
my families, my friends.
고맙습니다.
I wanna say thank you to my families and friends.
뭐 누님, 뭐 아들, 뭐 어머님, 아버님.
Would you like to give any names to a specific person?
다들 뭐 걱정해주고
Everyone was worrying about me, and
누구?
so who?
뭐야? 누구에게 쓰는 편지야?
다들 해주시는데
Everyone,
그 짱구 누나가
especially
많이 연락
짱구
많이
누나,
와요.
she always messaged me a
긴장하지 말고
lot
열심히 해라,
to
뭐 이런
feel
식으로.
comfortable, don't be nervous, do your best, so I could rely on her.
다시 한번 축하드리고 안동의 프랭크도 한번 이번에는 입단이 아니라
So
우승으로
this
바뀌기
is
바랍니다.
another good news for the hometown of Kanna, Andong. Hope we can see another celebration going on into your town. And Faker, your 9th title in LCK. And this is the second time you get this back-to-back-to-back title in LCK and the oldest mid laner to win LCK. You've accomplished a lot of new histories today. I mean, I'm living young, so the fact that I'm the oldest mid laner to win a title doesn't really feel real. And I really wanted to get this win today. And we were having a lot of up and down. We were having a lot of hard time in the spring split, but we all together did our best, and I'm happy that we were able to get this win. Yeah, some people also said it's gonna take some time for T1 to win this new roster. But however, you guys were able to take down the strongest team in the regular splits, Genji, in such a short time.
일단 코치님들과 감독님
Our coaching staffs
감독님이
and head coach,
코치님들과 감독님이
they all just
코치를 잘 해주시고
did a great job in coaching us and leading us.
팀원들이 잘 뭉칠 수 있었던 것
So
같고, 그리고
we are able to be
팀원들도 다
jointed as a team.
팀을 위해서 게임하는 좀 그런
And
느낌이 많이 들었어요.
our
다들
teammates,
노력도
we
많이
were
해주고
all
너무
playing for the
좋은
team.
결과였던 것 같습니다.
So we were able to get this great result.
그리고 또 스프링도 우승하면 또 당연히 뭐 썸모도 있고 또뭐
Yeah, now you got the spring split. What's your upcoming goal? Summer or Worlds?
하시고 싶은 약속이라든가 뭐 드리고 싶은
Is there any pledge you want to make?
네, 이번 시즌 내내
Well,
팬분들의 얼굴을 못 뵀지만
throughout the split, we weren't able to see our fans.
팬분들이 응원해
However,
주시고
with the support from our fans, I was able to cheer up.
저희가 여정의 끝이 롤드컵이잖아요.
And you know, the end of the journey is always Worlds. So I want to continue this momentum and get a good result.
멋지게 한번 롤드컵 약속.
What's your
네,
goal
약속을 했는데
or promise for Worlds? I mean, I made a promise last year when I won the title, so I cannot make a promise right now.
그래도
But,
이번에는
well, maybe this
한국이
time
최고다라는 걸
I want to show
싶네요.
Korea is the best, but it might be too early.
시원한데요?
그런
But
목표를 가지고 해보는
I want to keep this goal in my mind.
LCK가 최고다는 걸 보여주고 싶은 그런 포부를 밝히셨고 테디
Teddy.
오늘 뭐 역시 또 지금 오늘 비공식 펜타까지 나왔어요.
So you
네.
had the unofficial penta kill as well.
아쉬운 것도 있지 않겠어요? 결승 때 펜타 한번 나왔어야 되는 건데.
I mean, wasn't this so close, getting the penta in the finals?
아쉽긴 하지만 그래도
I mean, a little bit sad that I missed the penta in the finals, but still feels awesome to win LCK.
정말 뜻깊은 그런 한 시즌이 아니었나, 한 스플릿이 아니었나 생각이 됩니다.
I guess it was a very meaningful split for you. So how do you feel right now?
팀원들이 다들 너무
My
잘해줘서
teammates were doing a great job,
저도 하기 너무 게임
so
하기 너무 편했던 것 같고
it was so comfortable for me to play.
3대 0을 이겨서 너무 기분 좋고
I'm happy that we got 3-0 win,
너무 감사합니다.
and thank you for all your support.
자, 끝으로 두명 있으니까 오늘 에포트.
Effort.
우승하면 뭐 하기로 하지 않았어요?
Didn't you make a pledge
우승하면
for winning the
뭐
title?
하겠죠? 잘 기억이 안
머리를
I said I was gonna dye my hair blue, my favorite color.
언제쯤
When are you gonna dye your hair?
아직 구체적인 일정이
I don't have a specific schedule, but when I have a downtime, maybe I will.
뭐라 얘기하고 싶은 거예요? 페이커
Faker,
방송에서 한번 하는 건 어떨까요?
would you like to add on to that?
하고
Maybe
나서
during the
끝나고 나서
streams,
개인
effort.
방송에서 공개하는 걸로.
Yeah, maybe I'll dye my hair and stream with my new fresh hair in blue.
한 말씀 하셔야 될 것 같습니다.
Any last words for the fans?
네, 저좀 부족한 점도 많았는데
Well,
팀원들이 좀
I had a lot of room to
도와주고
improve
해서
this split,
우승까지
but
할수 있었던 것
with the
같고요.
help
네,
from my
그리고
teammates, I was
팬분들도
able to
열심히
get this trophy.
정말
And
기분
the cheer and support from our fans really cheered me up, and it was adding a lot of energy. So I want to say thank you to all my fans.
사실 뒤에서 보는 것도 많이 공부되는 거 아니겠습니까?
Elim,
예, 어떠셨어요?
also watching your team playing also teaches you a lot of things, right?
제가 비록 경기에는 뛰지
Even though I wasn't able to play,
역시 팀이라서 그런지
but at the same time, because we are a team, I'm super happy. And watching them in the room,
되게 얻는 게 많았던 것 같아요.
I earned a lot of things.
예. 자, 그리고 뭐 여러 명의 그 뒤에 그뭐 구만 씨도 있고 많은 선수들이 있습니다.
I mean, there are a lot of rookie players staying in T1 like Gumayushi, Elim.
이 자리에 없는 선수들도 많이
Yeah, there are a lot of players who aren't here with us right now, but there are also such a great players, so keep supporting us. Thank you.
코치들부터 얘기를 해봐야죠.
And we have the coaches here as well.
네. 우승에 사실 우리가 오래 봤잖아요. 예, 뭐 명함을
So
줬으면
comment.
받겠어요 또.
I've seen you for a long time.
코치분들도 한 말씀.
How do you feel right now?
좀 정말 좀
I
부담되는
mean,
자리였는데
it-
들어갔을 때
Joining T1 was a
부담을 좀
huge
이기고
pressure,
뭔가 해낸
but
것 같다는
I feel like I've overcome the
그리고
pressure and
저희
accomplished
팀원들이랑
something.
감독님이
And our
너무
teammates,
잘해줘서
our head coach, they were
감사하고
doing a great
그리고
work,
저희
so I'm
그
thankful for them.
이 팀 친구들이
And we also have
정말
an academy
열심히
roster.
도와주고
They are really
잘해줘서
doing a great job
그런
helping us
좋은
with the
결과
practice.
만들 수 있는 것 같습니다.
So with all those help, we were able to get this result. And Coach Moment,
많이 한 건 없지만
well, I haven't done a lot of things, but thanks to all the nice teammates, head coaches, I was able to get this result. And as someone said before, Kumayushi, Kuri, Roach, Corey, they are all with this together, so we were able to get this trophy.
끝으로 김종국 선수도 다시 한번 팬들께 향후에 또
Lastly,
생각보다 빠르게
Kim.
그 영입은 탑 영입은 실패했습니다만
I mean,
육성은 성공한 거
before the split or in the early split, you said the top pickup was a failure, but you guys made it to the finals and got the trophy. Any last message?
기분 좋게 우승해서
So with this pleasant victory of the spring split, I'm super happy. And as Faker mentioned, Summer and Worlds, we are aiming to Worlds.
오늘을 발판 삼아서
So with this day's victory, I want to become a team that can dream a bigger dream And I want to say for the fans out there watching us online and supporting us, thank you. Now you guys have to get changed and get ready for the award ceremony. So let's wrap up the interview here. And this, once again, this is our 2020 LCK Spring Split champions, T1. Please give a round of applause.
자, 타임 들어가서 옷 갈아입자. 네. 네. 자, 지금 T1 선수들은
So T1 players
우승 세레머니
will be getting ready for the award ceremony.
다들 아시는 것처럼
And we have
코로나 위기로
due to the coronavirus pandemic, we weren't able to be joined by our fans at the arena, but we're having a lot of support from the fans here at the arena, printed out on the cardboards. And thanks to all the love and support from our LCK fans, we were able to end this 2020 LCK Spring Split final successfully. We are looking forward to having a very energetic split coming in for the summer season. T1 reached the V9, Victory 9 here in LCK. As the T1 players are ready, let's move over to the award ceremony. So we have two departments for this award ceremony. First, finals MVP, the series MVP, and the winner of the spring split. It's a shame that we cannot hear the crowds for the award ceremony. So, who do you think will be the finals MVP? Because voted for himself. And let's see the real award for the series MVP. So, Hong-Sik Choi, the Uri Bank Executive Vice President of Private Group, will help us with the award ceremony. Who's gonna be the finals MVP? Who is it gonna be? Faker, like, is it me? And Cuz also, is it me? It was a 3-0 game, so it's gonna be a competition for this MVP. Please give a warm round of applause. It's Cuz Uchan Moon. The T1's jungler won the series title and also the series MVP. The winner, the final MVP, will be awarded of 5 billion Korean won. Because a lot of people expected that the jungle competition will be really hard and difficult, but however, Cuz was actually handling it so easily up against Clid. That first kill in game number 1 so critical, and he won multiple smite fights in game number 3, wrapping up the series. And lastly, the champion ceremony of 2020 LCK Spring Split. Once again, we'll be joined by Uri Bank Executive Vice President of Private Group, Hong-Sik Choi. And the winner of the Spring Split will be awarded 100 million Korean won. Your Spring Split champions will be T1. T1 will be awarded with 100 million Korean won. to a team. And the team captain Faker will get this award. Back-to-back-to-back finalists and back-to-back-to-back champions. I hope T1 can keep this momentum till the summer split and also Worlds. Once again, congratulations on the win. And also, I would like to say thank you once again for Hong-Sik Choi for helping us with this awards ceremony.
Thank you, Ji-Sun, once again for the translation of the award ceremony and all that good stuff with Casterjun on the... I can still hear him. Anyway, guys, huge congratulations to T1. Absolute domination there in their victory over Gen G. I expected it to be a bit closer than that, unless to be honest, but ends up that T1 are the big favorite here in Korea going into summer, and that's really interesting to see who will be able to challenge them in the next split.
And I don't know what it's going to be, because we'll have to see what the offseason has in store for us when we end up resuming. The patches aren't really changing all that much right now, so could just pick up right where we left off, and that would mean a battle again amongst the top three.
So guys, that's going to do it for us. This is the first time without an audience here at the LCK. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us throughout the entire split. This is the end of this split, and congratulations once again to T1 for their victory. Hopefully Gen G can come back in summer and try a bit harder, but we will see you next week for LCK Summer Promotions. But until then, that is going to do it for us here at the Spring Split. Thank you once again so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Good night.
다른 스포츠랑 다르게 e스포츠가 이런 안 좋은 시기에도 계속 리그를 할 수 있다는 게 엄청 큰 장점이고,
아무래도 대회장에서 하는 거하고 좀 여러 가지 차이점이 있더라고요. 그래서 감회가 좀 새로웠어요.
그 환호 소리, 이겼을 때 성취감? 그 느낌을 직접적으로 못 받는다는 거.
확실히 현장에서 경기하는 것보다 긴장감도 덜하고 팬분들을 많이 못 만나고 경기 실전 같은 느낌이 안 나니까 좀 신선한 경험인 것 같아요.
최초 2000킬.
1000킬도 제가 최초로 했었는데 또 2000킬을 하고 나니까 오래오래 기억에 남을 것 같고요. 기록보다는 그냥 많이 이기고 싶네요.
그동안에 나는 성적이 1000킬이죠. KT 예, 중원 1000킬. LCK 10번째 1000킬 달성. 그렇죠. 이거고요. 이 다음에 그러면 나스칼이 들어가 있거든요. 그래서 아펠리오스. 일단 물론 1000킬 축하드리고요. 축하드립니다.
사실 1000킬 했을 때 엄청 막 좋거나 그런 건 없었는데 걔도 되게 오래 했고 잘하고 있었구나 싶었던 생각이었어요.
제가 이번 시즌에 펜타클 3번을 하면서 제 기록을 세웠긴 했지만 저 혼자서 만든 것이 아닌 팀원들 다 같이 만든 것이기 때문에 팀원들이랑 영광을 좀 나누고 싶어요.
스크린 선수 축하드립니다.
저 전혀 UFC 멘트하고 약간 비슷한 느낌인데 상의 유니폼 입은 것도 아니고 목 도시처럼 잘라서 지금 걸치는 데가 있어요.
지금 딱 두 분의 이 지금 이미지가 이주 탐켄치라는 커뮤니티 반응책이잖아요. 당당하세요.
솔직히 보면서 제가 더 빵 터졌거든요. 원하는 캐릭터, 별명 같은 거 생겨서 그냥 재밌는 것 같아요.
해볼까?
일단 솔직히 그때 또 잘 밀지도 잘 몰랐고 그냥 에라 모르겠다 식으로 그냥 해본 거였는데 운 좋게 끝난 것 같아요.
제일 짜릿했던 거는 최근에 했던 담원 경기 넥서스 26 남기고 이겼던 것 같습니다.
바드.
제가 경험해볼 거라 할 수 없는 경기가 일어나서 엄청 좋았습니다.
문 들어올 때도 줘. 이게 우리 미션이지. 다해. 팀원이 좋아 화이팅. 좋아. 아직은 좋다. 얘들아 승년 물려라잉. 내가 한번 받으러 가자.
이겼는데 기쁘지 않지. 되게.
이번 시즌 좀 새로운 팀원들도 있고 처음 시작하는 선수도 있는데 좀 다들 마음고생이 심했을 것 같아서 좀 미안한 마음도 많은 것 같아요.
개인적으로는 팀의 에이스가 되고 싶었어요. 팀이 흔들려도 저만큼은 흔들리지 않고 정말 단단한 선수, 그런 선수가 되고 싶었는데 이번 시즌에는 저부터 시작해서 많이 힘들었던 것 같고
스프링 시작은 좀 분위기 좋게 시작해서 끝까지 좀 좋을 줄 알았는데 팬들도 응원해주시는 맛도 떨어지고 그러다 보니까 제일 아쉬웠던 것 같아요.
살아줘 제발. 살아줘. 망했다. 네 까비. 아유 반dom차.
괜찮아. 스프링 초반에는 다들 즐거운 분위기고 되게 힘이 많이 났었는데 제가 점점 패배하면서 다들 분위기도 다운되고 좀 되게 많이 힘들었었어요. 그래도 다음에는 그런 부분이 좀 많이 완화돼서 좋은 경기력으로 팬분들에게 보답할 수 있으면 좋겠어요.
사실 개인적으로 좀 많이 아쉬웠어서 근데 팬분들한테도 그렇고 좀 뭔가 죄송한 마음도 있고 잘 연습해서 좋은 모습 보여드릴 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
저희가 장전에는 참 이럴 거 없다는 생각을 많이 했어요. 지금 상황도 저희가 승강전을 가고 있는데 이것만큼 저점이 없을 거라고 생각하고 이럴 거 없다는 마인드로 정말 열심히 썸머 시즌 준비하고 있습니다.
썸머 시즌에는 코로나 사태가 조금씩 잠잠해지면서 LCK 경기를 롤파크에서 다 같이 안전하게 즐길 수 있으면 좋을 것 같고 공부 최고의 원딜이 되는 것보다는 그냥 LCK에서 되게 손꼽히는 최고의 원딜이 되고 싶어요.
팬분들 빨리 뵈고 싶습니다.
이번 스프링 내내 팬분들을 못 만날 줄은 몰랐는데 이렇게 경기 마무리하게 돼서 참 아쉬운 것 같고요. 나중에 팬분들과 함께 다시 재밌게 경기하고 싶습니다.